this morning. So sit back and get ready. And we'll take your calls too. But a lot has happened since yesterday's show. We're going to be live in less than a minute. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. There's so much good stuff to talk about. Let's see here. Where am I? All right. Here we go. It is 19 seconds.
Save big. Call
954-939-1500
and talk to the owner, Scott. That's 954-939-1500.
Yeah, it was not in programming.
CutMyKilowatts.com. Estimates given on the phone. Work done in days, not weeks. Easier than ordering a pizza.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All righty, it is Wednesday, Juneteenth. The banks are closed. Juneteenth. You know what Juneteenth is, right? Do you know what Juneteenth is? Juneteenth, I know you think you know what it is. And maybe you do, but you probably don't. Juneteenth represents the day in American history that after the Democrat insurrection against the United States government, known as the American Civil War, was over for, about a year, the Republican Army of the Union told the last slaves that were being illegally held by Democrats in Texas that they were free. That's right. So Juneteenth, a lot of people don't realize, well, I guess no one realizes this because this is not how they promote it, but Juneteenth is actually a great Republican holiday. In fact, those Union soldiers that told those last slaves that they were free were Republicans. The people that were illegally holding those slaves were Democrats. And the freed slaves that were freed by the Republican Union Army were instantaneously Republicans. And the slaves that were told that day that were men had a right that white women did not have, the right to vote. That's right. So yes, Juneteenth, a great Republican holiday. Happy Juneteenth. And now, of course, that's not how they teach it in school. You know, they teach all kinds of other things. Okay, so that's that. And yes, we want to celebrate. There's not a lot of Republican holidays, like official federal Republican holidays. But this is one of them. And don't let anyone tell you anything different, all right? Juneteenth. All right, so, yeah, no, it's true. So there's a lot of talk going on. I want to share this with you, okay? Now, yesterday we were talking about this bizarreness from the fake news media that all of the videos of Biden being checked out and out of it are fake, right? They did that. And they continued that yesterday. And what you can take from that is Biden is going to be the nominee. They're covering for Biden because they're stuck with this senile, corrupt old coot with the dementia and whatever else he's got going on and the junkie kids. They're stuck with him. So if they were going to replace Biden, they wouldn't be doing this. They would be highlighting how out of it he is. But they've chosen to cover up for him. And they're not happy about it, but Jill Biden ain't giving that up. All right? I've been telling you this for a long time. This Michelle Obama fantasy that people have been talking about is just that, a complete fantasy. However, the Biden campaign, which is getting whooped, have you seen this new poll out of Iowa? I'm going to get into it later. I mean, they're losing all over the place. New polls show that Trump could get 20% of the black vote. It's crazy, right? What's going on? They need something. They need something to put some excitement in this stale, failing campaign. And what the new talk is, since they can't get rid of Biden, because Jill ain't going to let that happen, they're talking about replacing Kamala to bring some energy and life into the campaign. And they want to, and of course, there's only a small handful of people that they could plug into that. And, they may tell you that it's cheap fake, deep fake, and he's with it. There's never been a president as mentally fit as Biden. They may tell you that all day, but they know it's not true. And they do not expect, if God help America, this guy was reelected, which he's not. Trump's going to win. But they know that if he were reelected, there's no way he's going to be able to fulfill his term. I mean, he can barely fulfill a day. I mean, he's so out of it. He needs to be in a nursing home. But they're seriously talking about now replacing Kamala and plugging someone in that would do a couple of things. One, bring some energy into this pathetic losing campaign that Biden has going on. But also plug someone in that not only is going to bring energy. What I mean by energy is not just some young person. Oh, they're young. They can, I'm talking about jazzing up the Democrat base, which is, the Democrat base is almost non-existent because so much of the base has gone to Trump. So they got to plug someone in there who's going to jazz up the Democrat base, and also someone that they can let people know that, hey, Biden reelected, if he has to resign or when he resigns because he's out of it, they'll be able to move in. Now, there's some things to factor in. It's not going to be Michelle Obama. There's 3 people that it could be. And I'm going to give you the 3 names. There are 3 people that it could be. Gavin Newsom, complete insane lunatic. Gretchen Whitmer, more insane than even Gavin Newsom. The first time I saw her, I can see in her eyes she is certifiably insane. So you've got Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, or Hillary Rodham Clinton. Those are the 3 that are realistic for them to plug in at the convention to replace Kamala. And I know a lot of people say, well, Kamala will be... They've been teasing Kamala for the last couple of months with the idea of becoming... They know she's not ever going to be elected president. I think she knows this. But they've been talking to her about becoming the governor of California after Gavin Newsom. And I think she likes that idea. She's Californian. She really messed up in so many ways. She had a job for life in the Senate, and she gave that up, and now she's a loser. So that's what they would tease in front of her. You'll be the governor after Newsom. And if Newsom is the running mate, and they were to win, he'd have to resign. And I guess they always have special elections out there. When's his term up? I don't even know. It's not important. But they've been teasing her with that. And historically, it is not unusual for presidents to switch out the vice president when they're in their second terms. I think FDR had 3, right? So So this used to be the norm. Even Lincoln had 2. Many presidents have had 2 vice presidents for all kinds of reasons. Mostly probably politics. So that's what they're talking about. Now, that does not mean that it's going to happen. These are desperate people on a sinking ship, and like the rats, they're running away from trying to survive. But it's something that they're seriously discussing. And the reason they're discussing it is because they're doing polling on it to see how that would help the campaign. And they're doing every combination with every candidate. And we still know Trump is going to win, but these desperate people aren't just going to concede. And they may keep Kamala on the ticket because, to join this ticket, this is the thing I've been telling you guys. The chances of Biden winning are so low that anyone with a lick of sense who thinks they have any political future will not want to do it, because people like Newsom and Whitmer, they think they can be presidents in the future, and they don't want to go into a campaign and lose, because when you lose, you're a loser. And not many people come back after being a loser, especially at the bottom of the ticket, to be president. It's happened. There's exceptions, but it's unlikely. You don't want to be identified as a loser. You know, Whitmer and Newsom have won every election they've been in, as far as I know, but they're winners. That's why and I can't think of a third person that's realistic. Michelle's not realistic. Governor Newsom, Governor Whitmer, or Hillary Clinton. Now, of course, Newsom and Whitmer, being insane, may not realize what I'm sharing with you, but I think it's unlikely that they would accept it because they don't want to be losers. They're winners now. They want to go for the nomination to be at the top of the ticket next time around. And they want to come in as winners, not losers. You look pathetic. So out of those three, the only one I think is truly a realistic choice for them to plug in to be Biden's running mate, other than if they're going to pass over Willie Brown's girlfriend, Kamala Harris, would be Hillary Clinton. She's already lost a couple times. She's used to losing. She's, been humiliated by her pig of a husband her whole life. So she's used to humiliation. In fact, she's probably uncomfortable when she's not being publicly humiliated. So she is the most likely to do that. So I'd very much like to hear your thoughts. Do you think that they would not be defending Biden with the gaffes, saying it's deep fake, cheap trick, whatever, all that stuff, if he wasn't going to be the nominee? So that's replacing Biden's done. He's the nominee. The debate's next week, okay? But I'd like to hear your thoughts. Do you think they are talking about this? This is not just some thing I made up. There's serious talk about replacing Kamala at the convention as the vice presidential nominee, okay? And I think she'd be fine with that if they either put her back in the Senate, but probably if they promised her the governorship of California. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Do you think that's a possibility? And who do you think they would plug in? I think Hillary Clinton, based on the case I just made, is the most likely. So, but if you have some other suggestions that you think might be likely, that's welcome too. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. After the break, I'm going to get into some other issues, but I would like to hear your thoughts on that as well as the show goes on. 1-888-465-2631. One of our callers called in yesterday. She was drinking her My Pillow My Coffee. The My Pillow My Coffee is spectacular. I drink the My Pillow My Coffee, and it's 50% off with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, at mypillow.com. It comes in different strengths from light all the way up to dark and everything in between. You can get it ground. You can get it whole bean or in the Keurig cups, whichever you choose. And the My Pillow My Coffee, not only is it delicious, it is 50% off with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE. I get the light roast. I tell you guys, the lighter the roast, the higher the caffeine content in coffee. The lighter the roast, the higher the caffeine content. But maybe you don't want the high caffeine content, so you get something medium, you get dark. I don't know. I get the light. I don't even like the drink caffeine every morning, but I need it. I'm addicted to it. I would not be able to perform without my caffeine. And I know you guys probably have a similar thing. We're all caffeine addicts, aren't we? So go to mypillow.com, use our promo code KANE and check out KANE. Get your My Pillow My Coffee for 50% off with the promo code KANE at checkout. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get into the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1.
All right, guys, welcome.
With Brian Craig.
It's crazy the things you can do with a smartphone or tablet these days. Stream movies.
So what do you think about that, though? If they, because they're desperate to get some energy and juice into this campaign. Do you have any other suggestions that they might do? And I can't think of anyone who's more likely to do it than Hillary. Well, I think Fetterman, when he was in the hospital, that he whatever treatment got his brain working better, and he's more rational these days. Fetterman. Right? Buttigieg? Oh my goodness. Okay. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll take some calls after the break. Make sure you all like the video, guys. You know, I was talking on a live stream I did this morning. You know, this channel and this program grows through the word-of-mouth advertising of you who watch and listen. And, you know, if you want to help spread the word about this channel, liking the video, subscribing, and sharing the video on whatever platforms you're on, your socials, your Discords, whatever groups you're in. And, of course, watching as many of my videos as possible. That helps grow the channel, too. So I hope you got the notifications clicked and watch, because I put up a lot of content. I'll have a new podcast tonight that I'll upload. I hope you guys catch that. The podcast that I co-host with my wife. Doing all those things helps grow the channel. Where am I here? Okay. Oh, my goodness. Hillary at the Tonys. She was wearing sheets. She was huge. I told Steve yesterday she's built like Chris Christie now.
Tune in Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6
There we go.
p.m.
Stand
and
by.
Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. to the Jupiter Joe Money Show, where we answer all kinds of questions about retirement right here on your True Oldies channel.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All righty, 21 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. A little community service message. I took the Turnpike today. I don't like taking the Turnpike because it's basically 2 lanes most of the way, right? The left lane is for passing. Do people not know how to drive on the damn? The left lane is for passing. I'm in this long line of cars, and there's a guy going like 65 in the front, and we got like a 2-mile long. The left lane is for passing, okay? Cruising's in the right lane. Somebody's in front of you going slow, you pass them in the left lane. But when there's 2 lanes on the Turnpike, you can't pass if you got some jerk who moved here from, I don't know, Pennsylvania that doesn't know the rules of the road in Florida. The left lane is for passing, all right? All these newbies to Florida. And by the way, you can turn right on a red light. Had another person yesterday, I'm down here, down the street from the radio station. This guy would not, you can turn right on a red in Florida unless there's a sign telling you no right turn on red. If there's no sign saying no, and you don't see those signs very often. Oh my goodness. Very frustrating. All these newbies to Florida. Aggravating me. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, Richie.
I listened to what you said, and I happen to, well, I have a difference of opinion. I think you're wrong. And I'm going to tell you my theory about this, okay? President Obama, supposedly Dan Bongino says he hates Biden. He's never liked him, okay?
That is correct, yes.
To see how he walked him off the stage and took his hand and how Biden froze up, and you could see the stiff gait. You have to understand that what do you call it? Obama knew that this was going to be a big thing. I happen to think that the CNN debate, because if you look at Biden, even when he talked to when he talked to G7, when he was in there, he has some cue cards to even say hello. What's your name?
Yes. Yep.
He's completely. I believe that everyone's saying that Trump is walking into crap. I think Biden's the one walking into a total trap. I think CNN is in the tank for whoever it's going to be, whether it be, I think it's going to be...
Wait a minute. When you say, hold on. This isn't, when you say CNN's in the tank, you mean CNN wants to bring Biden down in the debate?
Exactly. They're going to. They're going to, and it's going to be so obvious that the world is going to see it, and at that point, you're going to see the big scramble going on, and it's going to be with them. And he.
Oh, that was. Well, okay. Now I want to just. I don't disagree with anything you're saying. See, the Democrat Party is in different factions right now. It's totally divided, and so we can't. When we talk about what's going on, we can't talk about it as the Democrat Party as a whole. The Biden people are the ones that are talking about replacing Kamala. You're right. When Obama took Biden by the hand, that was done on purpose to cause get a dialogue going. Absolutely. And Bongino, who says that Biden is hated by Obama, remember, Dan Bongino was on Obama's Secret Service detail, so he would know.
He would know. So the thing is this is a desperate ploy by the Biden people wanting to stay in power, but you still have Pelosi, you still have Schumer. They all know, and Obama especially, they all know Joe doesn't have a chance to win this election. They're not going to plug in, and whoever they can plug in the Lord, and it won't get them over the finish line.
That's correct.
This is a desperate ploy by the Biden team, whoever's running the country, not Biden. So, and it might be his wife, it might be whoever it is. But I'm telling you right now that CNN is going to. Well, you know how they always do. Whatever you think they're going to do, they do the opposite. CNN is going to. He's going to come out of that looking like a totally.
Well, you know, the person. I'll tell you on the Democrat side of things. Okay, if they plug somebody in, that's really a losing proposition. I mean, Trump is so popular and everything else. And well, let me finish my thought. The one person that has the most likely chance of performing for the Democrats is Kamala Harris, and I'll tell you how and why. If Kamala, she's not going to do this though. If Kamala Harris invoked the 25th Amendment and had addressed the nation about the mental decline of Biden, and that she's forced to do this because of this, and she's going to continue, and she's the president now, she would women and a lot of blacks would rally behind her. If she did that, she would be the most likely to perform against Trump.
No, I don't think so. I think that she's going to. I think that they know that this is a way to do.
Could you please not say and use that word down when you're talking about Kamala? Because sometimes you say things and people think you're saying something else.
No, this is a way that they get rid of Joe and her at the same time. I'm telling you, you're going to see it next.
So you think they're gonna plug in Whitmer?
In Michigan.
Please.
And they already got California.
Wait, how popular today is Whitmer in Michigan? That's an unknown factor.
Well, she wants you to be tutor. I'm telling you that's how I see it. I see Joe. See, everyone's thinking, they're going to go after Trump in this debate. I think that Trump is going to actually help Joe Biden lose his position, because they're going to get rid of him after, and they get rid of 2 and 1. Then they can say, listen, we're doing this for the country. It's obvious that we didn't realize that this man was so out of it already, and he has no cue card. He can't speak. He couldn't hold this conversation with you right now.
No, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But I think what I'm saying, like I said, there's different factions inside the Democrat Party, and they're each angling in different ways.
Obama still runs the show, and Schumer and Pelosi are still beholden to him.
But with Obama, this is what you got to ask yourself about Obama, though. The Democrats aren't going to win, but in his mind, they are, right? If the Democrats win, where does Obama have the most power? With Biden back or with Whitmer?
It's going to be with. She's going to be behind.
No. Oh, okay, all right.
I believe. That's what I'm telling you. What I see here is a suicide mission coming next week.
Yeah.
So at that point, they're both going down. Come on. Well, she won't be able to say a word. It's too
Well, I hope your scenario is right, because to bring somebody in like at this late date would be so devastating, because there'd be so much division. There would be so much division inside the Democrat machine. The Bidens would not just say, "Oh, okay, Whitmer's got it." It would be a disaster.
They have no choice when he fouls against CNN.
Yeah, but they don't. But they listen. If they did, I hope you're right about Whitmer. It would cause such divisions, because she would be seizing the nomination from him and Jill. They're not going to get the endorsement. They're not going to get any cooperation. It'd be beautiful. It would cause so much division inside the Democrat Party. They would not even be a functional entity. So I hope you're right. All right, Richie. All right, I got it. I got to run. No. Got to run. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
I think you're gonna really love it.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
If you're on hold, hang in there.
Again, that's progressive.com, or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. That's traffic and evidently steel.
Traffic, a service.
The lucrative politics of climate collapse and the greed that is literally letting our country burn. Today, millions of Americans from
walk straighter than she ever walked in her life. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being such a willing vessel to talk about Dr. Appleton.
That's amazing. So you heard me in Orlando talking about Dr. Appleton and drove to South Florida with your mother to see him.
Yeah, my mom is awesome now. Awesome. No more arthritis, no more pills, none of that. She's going back to New York. She sits on the train for 24 hours. And I'm telling you, no pain. She gets off that train, and my sister says she walks like a young woman.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Call Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain, too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online, AppletonCairo.com.
Where are we here?
This message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Are you
living your best life? Are you feeling the way you know you should be? This is John, CFO at Lighthouse Medical Center. Our hormone optimization therapy programs have helped so many people get back to feeling the way they did in their 20s. They're full of energy after a long day, reduced their risk of heart disease, sexual vigor and excitement are great, sleeping the way they should without disturbances, and reducing their symptoms of aging. Our all-natural hormone optimization therapy is precise, easy, and effective from day one. Office visits are usually less than 5 times per year, and the cost is only $150 per month for most patients. Let our medical team get you optimized and living your best life. Our family
Here we go. We're coming back after this.
Serving South Florida for over 70
15
years.
seconds.
Let us show you what personalized medical care and being treated like family feels like. Call us at 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. Or visit us at lighthousemedicalcenter.com to schedule your consultation today.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
Alrighty, 34 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on this Juneteenth, the day that we celebrate the Republicans freeing the last African Americans held in bondage and slavery by Democrats in Texas. Yeah. How long? I don't remember. How long after the war ended did the Democrats still hold those slaves? Was it a year? It was a long time. Well, Democrats are terrible people. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
Think about this with Hillary Clinton. You mentioned Hillary Clinton as a possible vice president, right? Think about this, Hillary Clinton. Basically, what happened in 2016 is Hillary Clinton had a mental breakdown. After it was basically a given that Trump was going to win, right, in 2016. Remember, she didn't come out to make her concession speech. She had somebody else do it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, because she had a breakdown. She couldn't handle it, Hillary Clinton. She had an emotional breakdown. And if you saw her at the Tonys this week, she's got the body of Chris Christie now. I was surprised.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, think about it. If they, we probably know that they're going to lose anyway. When they lose, if it's her as the vice president, when they lose, how healthy is she? How healthy mentally is she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing. As far as Whitmer, she may think she has a shot in 2028. Newsom, same way. Probably, I was going to ask about Cuomo. Cuomo, the same way. That would be a potential.
That's right.
Would be Cuomo. So.
Yeah, that's true.
These people would have, who might have a shot in 2028.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Mike, you're right on the money. Now, before I get to the new place, I was just reading about Juneteenth, which they totally lied to you. I Googled Juneteenth, and then all kinds of celebration graphics come up because it's a big thing. Because today's Juneteenth, and it's now a federal holiday. And it says here, they lie to people. They think they're educating people. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Juneteenth. Okay, this is what they're telling us online. Let's see. It was on June 19th, 1865, when Major General Gordon Granger ordered the final enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas at the end of the American Civil War. Although this day commemorates enslaved people learning of their freedom under the Emancipation Proclamation, this only applied to the former Confederate states. There remain legally enslaved people in states that never seceded from the Union. These people did not gain their freedom until the ratification of the 13th Amendment. Okay, this is a bunch of nonsense, okay? Oh my goodness. There were they have changed the entire history. I don't want to get sidetracked on this too much. Indeed, Lincoln freed the slaves in the Confederate States. Why did he free the slaves in the Confederate States? Because there were no slaves in the northern states. In fact, at the start of the Civil War, not one Republican owned a slave. Okay, we were the Emancipation Party. He only freed the slaves where the slaves were being held. And Juneteenth, I think it was 6 months offhand. May have been a year after the emancipation. I can't remember. There's a 6 month and a year date. I don't study Juneteenth too much, but I know my American history, not these new things that they're crafting. This is disgusting. Even after the war was over, Democrats were holding slaves. They didn't tell them that they were free. They had no way to know. There was no Twitter, okay? There was no TV, right? And they didn't let them read newspapers. If they could even if they had one, they probably wouldn't be able to read it because most slaves could not read. Very few could, okay? So this whole idea that Lincoln kept people in bondage is nonsense. And don't let anyone tell you the Civil War was about ending slavery. I know a lot of people will say, oh no, it was about states' rights. It was about the states' rights to own slaves, okay? Everything else is noise. Lincoln and the Civil War were about ending slavery, all right? Don't let anybody tell you anything different today. All right, so Biden, in a desperate attempt to get a couple of votes, is giving amnesty to illegals that are married to U.S. residents that are legal or citizens. This is crazy, okay? So you mean to tell me that someone who is here illegally because they're married to a U.S. citizen or someone who is here legally, that all of a sudden they have legal status? That's insanity. And out in Arizona, I want to play this. This is a local news story out of Arizona. And they interview a Phoenix couple. One of them is legal, and one of them's an illegal. And they're very excited now. Listen to this. Supposed to have sympathy for this? I don't.
I cried all morning. It's been...
Yeah, I'm crying too because they're replacing the American people with peoples from other nations. So we're crying too.
I cried all morning. It's been amazing. It's been a dream come true.
Rosa Sanchez is no longer fearing she'll be separated from her husband, Everett. Today, the Biden administration announcing a new immigration policy to keep spouses and children of U.S. citizens safe from deportation.
It just made me feel safe. It made me feel very hopeful that now we're going to be a normal family.
Rosa and Everett have been happily married for 8 years and have 5 children together in Phoenix. But unlike Everett, Rosa is not a U.S. citizen.
Everybody probably thinks like, oh, you marry a U.S. citizen and it will be a quick fix.
Despite being a DACA recipient and living in the U.S. since she was a kid, Rosa's application for a green card was denied.
You know, this is such crap. You know, have any of you, remember when you had to register your kids to go to school? I remember, you know, the house I live in now, is where my daughter started school in kindergarten. We moved to the neighborhood because the schools were good. It was the main reason. There are other reasons, but one of the main reasons. And I remember when we registered her for school, not only did we have to take all her papers, but we had to bring utility bills and all kinds of other business. Any of you ever have to do that? Bring utility bills? We had to bring 2 utility bills. We brought the electric bill and the water bill because we had to prove that we were within the district of that school. Right? Because a lot of times people don't want their kids to go to the school in the neighborhood, and there used to be ways around that. There's no ways around that anymore. So why are people from other countries just allowed to come here and be wherever they want? You know, Trump says if you don't have borders, you don't have a country.
For like 2 weeks, I didn't even want to tell my family what happened. And we went through a big process of sadness, anger.
Under the new policy, people living in the U.S. for at least 10 years and have been married to a U.S. citizen before yesterday will now be eligible to apply for U.S. residency without having to leave the country.
Oh, wow. So you're here. Wow. So if you've been on the lam for 10 years, you just got total amnesty. What the heck is this all about? Well, I think we know what it's about.
Action is expected to impact roughly 500,000 families, with 50,000 or so of them in Arizona.
All right, now 1 million families. You know, the average family, what is 3 point whatever? So just say, you know, that's a couple million people we're talking about. Couple million people. Boom. All of a sudden, they're legal.
Representative Lidia Hernandez's husband.
I married a Mexican national, my husband, of 28 years now.
Some people...
See, here you got an elected state-level official in Arizona who's harboring a fugitive from justice, her illegal husband.
Arizona political consultant Stan Barnes feels this executive order is an election tactic to appeal to Hispanic voters in swing states like Arizona.
There is no doubt that this is a campaign move, a purely political move. And I'm not judging that negative or positive. This is what politicians do. There is no doubt that is what it is.
No, this is not what all politicians do. This is what criminal politicians, like in the Democrat Party, like Biden, do, and other Democrats. This is, you know, it's one thing to do something, to reach out to a group of people. It's another thing to legalize crime. And that's what's going on here. You have people that are criminals. They've been on the lam, sometimes for decades, and then all of a sudden their crime is legal. And I feel bad for some of these people, not all of them, because not all of them are good, like some of the ones that kill and rape Americans and stuff like this. I mean, I feel bad. I understand everybody wants to be here, but hey, just because you have a dream of living here and I have a dream of having a beach house on the beach. Am I entitled to have that? I wouldn't mind living in Hawaii. Am I entitled to that? No. You know, there's things you got to do to make it happen. Unless you're an illegal from Latin America. Then, for some reason, you're entitled to have all your dreams come true. It's disgusting. Let's take our last break of the first hour. We'll come back. There's a lot more to discuss. Your calls as well are welcome. Toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. And this couple, it's not an accident they picked this couple, right? They find the most normal family they can. They're, you know, good-looking woman, all that stuff, because they want it palatable. Let's go see the family of these monsters that have been raping and killing American girls. They're also getting this amnesty. That's right. We'll be right back.
The Cold Hard Truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hey, we need a timeout. Is your performance in the bedroom keeping you on the bench? Does the team have you feeling subpar? You gotta man up.
Still fresh. Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection with Downy Unstoppables. Try for under $5.
Mr. Chairman, how's it, sir? Non-invasive sound waves in your blood vessels. Proven by clinical research that it is safe and provides long-term results when you're in the bedroom. Consider HGH therapy to rev up your engine with HGH peptides, helping men fight fatigue and trim belly fat. A 100% bioidentical hormones facility, Game Day Men's Health will get you back in the game in no time. 561-355-5341. Visit our new location in Palm Beach Gardens on the corner of North Lake and North Military Trail. Their enjoyable man-cave environment provides refreshments and flat-screen TVs, aided by expert licensed staff who specialize in male health and wellness. Nothing else compared. Call 561-355-5341 or online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com for more information. Don't sideline your
Politics of climate collapse and the greed that is literally letting our country burn. Today, millions of Americans from Iowa to Maine are suffering through heat warnings, watches, or advisories. Cities across half of the country, Chicago, St. Louis, Indianapolis, Detroit, Philly, and
I also do tire repairs at very low prices. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
$10 million. Laporta Contracting doesn't need a large deposit like those other contractors do. Typical deposits other contractors want are 1/3 of the contract. If your job is $30,000, that's a $10,000 deposit. If your job is $300,000, that's $100,000. What are they doing with your money? Typically, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get a permit. In HOAs, much longer. If they need money for the materials, they don't have credit with the suppliers, and that spells bad news for the homeowner or HOA. Tom Laporta is honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Contracting has been in the roofing and contracting business since 1988. His services cover the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Tom Laporta can handle any type of roofing job too. Residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Call Tom Laporta right now on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, we are back. 49 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number, toll free, 1-888-465-2631. So MSNBC's Joy Reid, who is, she's now going for the Presley look, not Elvis, that weirdo in Congress, that lunatic. She's going for the bald look. She gave up the Trump wig. Now she's going bald. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, how many guys, I remember this, guys don't really get hair transplants anymore. They just go for that Mr. Clean look, and it's not going to happen with me, I'll tell you. Well, I'm not losing any hair, but I would never. The bald look, it's better on black people and Hispanic people than white people because we're so pale, we look like space aliens or something, when we're, But Joy Reid, it doesn't matter what hair she has or doesn't have, she's still just an ugly person inside and out because, spewing her poison. So it's hot. It's hot because, it's that time of year. And here's Joy Reid talking about the heat.
Begin tonight with the lucrative politics of climate collapse and the greed that is literally letting our country burn. Today, millions of Americans from Iowa to Maine are suffering through heat warnings, watches, or advisories. Cities across half of the country, like Chicago, St. Louis, Indianapolis, Detroit, Philly, and now New York, are hitting temperatures exceeding 90 degrees Fahrenheit, though it feels closer to 100. Many of these cities could experience heat indexes hitting 105 degrees by Sunday. These increasingly oppressive hot days aren't a coincidence. They aren't. They are the predictable impact of the climate crisis. And they're not just an inconvenience, they're also killing us at higher rates.
Really? Who's dying from climate change in this country? Okay, this is nonsense. It's been getting hot forever in the summertime. Summer's almost here, like around the corner, a couple days. Sometimes, spring ends in June, right? I really pay attention to that because we don't really have seasons in Florida. It's always nice and hot and everything else. But I remember when I was a kid in Columbus, Ohio, this was around 1980, and it was very hot over the summer. I remember watching the local news, WBNS TV. I don't know why I can remember. It's like I told you, when you get older, you remember stuff when you were young like that. And it was a hot day around this time of year, and I was watching the news in the middle of the day. I was out of school for the summer, right? Kids are out of school now. And I remember they had a news crew go to downtown Columbus, Ohio, in front of the statue that's no longer there of the great Christopher Columbus that the city's named after. They've taken it down because it's racist to have the statue, but they haven't changed the name of the city. And the local news crew was enlisting people downtown who were hot to try to fry eggs on the sidewalk. And they were trying, because it was like now, it was really super hot, and they were trying to fry eggs. They had a whole news story on this. You ever see those stories? I remember when I worked at 940 WINS in Miami, the news station. I've mentioned this before, I'm sure I have. There was a day that was slow in the news, and they had a whole team. When 940 WINS was a local news radio station, it was news 24 hours a day. they had a whole team of reporters, and they even had like news cars and everything, like a TV station. It was strange. But they had a slow news day, and they went out in the streets of Miami and started interviewing people. This is 940 WINS News, WINZ, interviewing people about the heat. It's always been this way. When I was a kid, and I used to come to Florida for the summer, not only did we have heat over 100 degrees regularly, and this was in the 70s and early 80s, and the reason I always remember it, I always tell you guys this, is that the banks in Florida used to all have digital clocks on the sign by the road. It gave you the time and the temperature. And every summer I would come to Florida as a kid. My dad and grandparents lived here. So I'd come down every summer, and I used to be amazed at the temperatures at the clock, the time and temperature on the bank clocks. It'd be 110, 105. And I'd go back to Ohio when the summer was over and tell my friends, you wouldn't believe it was 112 degrees in Florida. It was at the bank. This is not new. I remember there was a drought one or two summers when I came down, and you could take a boat to the middle of Lake Okeechobee and stand. Well, it's muck there, so it's not solid ground, but you could stand out in the middle of Lake Okeechobee and be above the water because there was a drought because of the heat and everything going on. So they're blaming climate change. They're blaming climate change. And they're talking about the collapse of climate change. This climate scam has collapsed for a lot of reasons, okay? The number one reason is the weather doesn't agree with them. That's why they stopped calling it global warming. Remember, they called it global warming for many, many years, and they changed it to climate change because there were some hot winters, some cold winters. And because there were some cold winters, they couldn't call it global warming anymore. They had the global warming conference in Europe, and they got snowed into the convention center. That is true. Do you remember about 10, 12 years ago, there were a group of scientists on an icebreaker in Antarctica that got stuck in Antarctica because they didn't get out in time before it froze up? Remember that? And they had to bring in an icebreaker to get them out? Those were global warming scientists. A ship of global warming scientists got stuck, frozen in Antarctica. They couldn't get out of Antarctica. It wasn't melting. So because of the conference and these scientists, they got frozen. They had to send an icebreaker to get them out. I'm not kidding. You guys remember this? They changed it to climate change, and it started to fall apart. And what kept it going was this cult of people. And what the final nail in the coffin of the climate scam are the disciples have left the religion. The disciples of climate change are the EV owners, the electric vehicle owners. And most people that buy electric vehicles hate them. Here in Florida, after the hurricanes, because they got flooded, they would combust into flames. Okay? People up north, they can't. The cars won't start because the batteries freeze up, so they don't work. If you go online, you can find countless videos, not just with Tesla, with any type of EV. People can't get where they're going. They don't have enough power. Or they've had one for a while, and they go to get a battery, and the battery costs more than buying a new car. So the word of mouth from the climate disciples, from their cult, on the electric vehicles is so bad that they're leaving the religion. So that's why the climate scam has fallen apart. Now, and I'll also say this. She's talking about that the country is about to burst into flames because conservatives have left the climate change, right? If you truly believe in climate change, truly believe, as the Bidens would tell you, you believe that human activity is causing the planet to change in a way that the earth will no longer be able to support human life, right? If you believe that carbon output by humans is going to end the earth's ability to sustain human life, Why is Joe Biden flying back to, from France to the U.S. for an afternoon and then back to France? What was the carbon footprint for that? Right? I mean, it's absurd. They don't even believe it anymore. That Greta Thunberg, or what's her name? What a lunatic she is. What is she going to do when this is over? She'll have like the last. She'll have like the last group of the climate disciples. She'll be like Charles Manson out in the desert. You know, she'll have her own climate ranch somewhere. But thankfully it's ended. But you know what? The Democrats will come up with something. You know, when I left the radio station yesterday, I was on I-95 southbound from Palm Beach Gardens, and a truck passed me. It was one of those tractor trailers that carry cars, you know, a double-decker one, and it had nothing on it but those Tesla Cybertrucks. Now, those are pretty cool looking, I must say, although $100,000, they don't look all that special. But no, the climate scam is over, people. It's fallen apart because the most hardcore believers have left the religion. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour. When we come back, we will take your calls, and I got a lot more to bring up, too, on the program. My name is Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Flo Rida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. That's right, celebrating 47 years on the radio. Call us on hold, stand by. Our number 888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be right back.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and Hernan Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're up to a great start. It's going to be a rainy day. We're going to see on and off scattered showers throughout the course of today. 50% chance of that. And it's going to be quite humid. Highs in the upper 80s. Meanwhile, we're tracking 3 possible systems in the tropics, but none will affect South Florida at this point. I'm going to be PBF 25 First Morning meteorologist Sandra Shaw.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Come out to the poker room at PBKC with 65 tables of action. Open daily for cash games, daily high hands, mega bad beat jackpots, and exciting tournaments. Bet small and win big with table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum all day, every day. PBKC, your entertainment destination. Go to pbkennelclub.com for more info.
Hi, it's Brian Craig. Let me ask you this. Are you planning on retiring in the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, at any point in your life? Or are you already retired? Listen, economically, it's a mess with the stock market ups and downs and inflation out of control. In fact, it's the highest inflation rate in 40 years. You need a plan of action for your retirement plans. You need the advice of a retirement expert who can help you protect your money, guarantee your income, and stop losing money. Joe Thomas is president of Retirement Network Advisors, South Florida's premier retirement experts, and has been for over 20 years. He's seen it all and is a true professional that you can trust. They're family owned and operated. His daughter Jenny works with him. You know Joe and Jenny from right here on True Oldies. He's the host of the Jupiter Joe Money Show, and he's been doing that for over a decade. You need Jupiter Joe's book, The Retirement Know-It-All. Mention my name, Brian Craig, and receive a free copy of his ebook. Go to jupiterjoe.com or call 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. Take advantage of his free phone consultation too. Go to jupiterjoe.com or call 561-743-0999. When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor could order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit Any Lab Test Now with Boca at Any Lab Test Now with Coral Springs. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now with Boca and Any Lab Test Now with Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio. Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire in Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road, because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
All right, coming back.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with...
All righty, 4 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's David, calling from Jupiter.
Hey, David in Jupiter. What's up?
I'm doing good, my friend. Where'd you grow up? I didn't hear where you said you grew up.
Well, grew up in Florida, but I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, so I grew up in New Jersey, and I remember as a kid, winter was winter. You know,
Yeah.
there was never a day in the 60s and 70s, and 1960s and 70s, where we had a 60-degree day or a 70-degree day or a 50-degree day. It was always cold. Now, you can't deny that this year has been the hottest year on record in decades. It's been the warmest in terms of temperature.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's what I heard. That's what I heard on the news, or that's what.
Well, I don't have to have the TV tell me. I live. We live. We experience it.
No, I understand, Steve, but people study this, and what they say are that this has been the hottest year on record in decades. Okay, that's what they're saying. I don't know if it's true. I don't know what to believe anymore.
It's not true. It's not true.
I disagree with you. Secondly, the temperature in the Gulf is the warmest it's ever been.
Really?
Decades. That's what they're reporting.
That's what they're reporting. You're talking about the fake news. You're talking about the fake news.
No, there is no real news anymore, Steve. There is no real news. You know that.
I'm Brian. Hold on. I'm Brian. Steve's not here yet, but that's okay. So let me get this straight. You believe that global warming is happening? What do you think?
I think that there's been a change in the weather patterns over the decades.
Okay. Slow down. Okay. Let's just say that's true. Okay, hold on. Slow down. Slow down. There's a change in weather patterns. Why is? Let's just say that's true for the argument. What has caused that?
From what I've heard, what I've read, what I've seen, it could be two reasons. One, it could be the natural cycle of the planet. Right? We have weather. It used to be an ice age billions of years ago. This could be just a natural cycle of the planet. It could be part of what they're saying is this carbon footprint.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting more emissions. We're putting more emissions into the air, which is having an effect on the weather. It could be either one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No. Well, no. I know, and I think a lot of people know, and maybe you don't know, but I know. If I do not accept that the planet is warming, but let's just say that it is. It's obviously, even according to people that believe that in this climate change nonsense, it's obviously would be a cycle of the planet, like you said, from the climate change. The climate change people don't believe that our carbon output, including, by the way, AOC and all the leaders of this, do not believe that our carbon output is warming the planet. And I know for a fact they don't believe. How do you think I know that the Democrats and the Bidens and AOC and all the other lunatics do not believe that carbon output by humans is warming the planet. How do I know that they don't believe it?
It's something you heard or you read somewhere.
No. When you fly to New Jersey, how do you fly? You go back to New Jersey ever?
I've seen my son for fun.
Okay, did you? Thank you. Did you drive or fly?
I flew, and then I have a car there.
Okay, so you flew. What kind of plane did you fly on? Like, you flew on an airline?
It was a 737, and then the other one was an A.
Did you? Was it your own personal aircraft, or was it an airline?
I'm not going to say the airline.
Okay, it was an airline. It was an airline. You know, you could say the airline. It was an airline. When these top Democrats travel, like John Kerry, Al Gore, Obama, AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Charles Schumer, you know, all the promoters of the global warming scam, they don't do what you and I do. You and I jet pool, meaning we fly commercial. They fly private. If they believed that carbon output by humans was so heavy that it was warming the planet and that the planet would not be able to sustain human life, don't you think they would at least do what you and I do, jet pool and fly commercial and not private?
Well, let's not make it a partisan issue.
It is a partisan issue.
Rich people fly private. Democrats and Republicans, all rich people who can afford it fly private regardless of their political affiliation. So this isn't...
No. If you were doing something... No. Excuse me. Slow down for a second. You're new to the program, so I'm not going to give you the full treatment. I'm being nice. If you were doing something that you think is killing people, wouldn't you stop doing it?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, Jill Biden. Jill Biden. Sadly the first lady right now, right? Okay, Jill Biden is a big supporter of global warming, of climate change. Right? Less than 2 weeks ago, she was in Normandy, France, with her corrupt husband, Joe Biden. She flew to France with Joe. She flew back from France to the United States for an afternoon and then flew back to France the same day. If Jill Biden thought that carbon output was killing people and making the earth incapable of supporting human life, do you think she would have flown back from Europe on a big jumbo jet just for an afternoon?
I don't know what she would do. See, I know,
Guy can't even get my name straight when I tell him. Yeah, but the Republicans aren't selling this climate crap.
Hang on, you said corrupt Joe Biden?
Yes.
Ryan? Come on.
Oh, now he's got my name right. Donald Trump's not corrupt.
He's been accused of many crimes.
Well, being accused is different than actually committing them.
He has many more. Let's see what happens in the...
Joe Biden, when he was vice president, I want you to think about this. Joe Biden, excuse me. Joe Biden, when he was vice president of the United States, Joe Biden, and Obama was president, okay? His drug-addicted son, Hunter, was on the board of the Ukrainian company Burisma. You may have heard of this. Burisma, excuse me, let me finish my statement, and I'm going to ask you a question. No, they're not. Donald Trump is not corrupt. When Hunter was on the board of directors of Burisma, and Joe was vice president, Burisma was under investigation by a Ukrainian prosecutor. Joe Biden, he said this on television, it's on C-SPAN, and you can Google this after the call and find this. Joe Biden went to Ukraine and threatened them. He said that if you do not get this prosecutor off my son's company's back and stop the investigation of Burisma in Ukraine, the United States is going to cut off all of our funding that we're giving you in Ukraine. And they got they stopped the prosecutor from investigating Hunter's company. That's corruption. Give me an example of Trump doing something like that.
Okay, let's say that of the how many indictments has Trump had?
Those are all fake. Those are all fake political indictments by corrupt officials.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
On the books, he's been indicted. There's been so many indictments under his administration, and 7 people have gone to jail.
Yes.
Obama administration,
Biden. Yeah.
0 indictments, 0 arrests and convictions under the Obama administration. Biden, has he been indicted for anything or been arrested and convicted of a crime?
No. But the indictment, the convictions against President Trump and the indictments are crooked. I give you an example. The judge in this New York case where they got the convictions is a Biden donor. Did you know that? He donated to Biden's campaign. Did you know that?
Brian, do you know the 3 tenets of becoming a politician at that level? Do you know what the 3 tenets are?
What?
Corruption, fraud, and murder.
Really? So who has Trump done corruption with or murdered? No.
He's guilty.
Not Trump. Not Trump.
Trump's been convicted. He's been
fake cases, fake charges.
Wait a minute, something.
Corrupt charges.
Did OJ kill his wife and that other guy? Did OJ do that?
The other guy, you mean Ron Goldman? Yes. In fact, he wrote a book after he was acquitted confessing that he did it. He confessed.
Killed him.
Yes.
Court says he didn't.
But OJ said he did. OJ wrote a book detailing how he did it.
You and I know he did it. You and I know he did it, right?
Well, yeah, OJ confessed.
Justice system. Look, there's a problem with the...
So you agree with me that the charges and convictions against Trump are corrupt?
Sorry?
I said, so you agree with me that these charges and cases against Trump, including the convictions, are just corrupt politicians misusing their office?
I'm saying that everything that happens at that level falls under the guise of fraud, corruption, and...
Unless your name is Trump.
You're wrong. They're all condemned.
No, in fact, if Donald Trump was really corrupt, they wouldn't have to manufacture things against him.
You come in and leave with 14 million. You can't.
Trump came in with 10 billion and was worth less when he left office because he's not corrupt.
Mate, Trump poked the bear, bro. You and I know that.
So you agree with me? That's right. Well, listen, I got to run for our break, but welcome to the program. Call again, and hopefully, and he has, and he's been doing it.
Right, but he's an outsider, bro. And
an outsider? What's going to happen is he's going to be the president. Hey, listen, I got to run for the break. Welcome to the show. Thanks for the call. Callers on hold. Stand by. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Every 15 seconds, a home is burglarized. That means by the time this commercial is over, 4 more families will have had their private space violated, their belongings stolen, their sense of security destroyed.
That's why hundreds of thousands of people have trusted the Sloman Shield home security system to keep their families safe. You can too. Just call 833-283-5050 right now, and you can get a free home security system plus your choice of a free indoor monitoring camera or programmable thermostat when you subscribe to Sloman's low-cost monitoring service for 5 years. With the Sloman Shield, you can arm and disarm your system remotely, view your home from any smartphone or tablet, lock your doors, control your thermostat, even turn your lights on and off. To get your free security system plus your choice of a free indoor monitoring camera or programmable thermostat, call 833-283-5050 now. That's 833-283-5050. And make sure the next home to be burglarized isn't yours.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious.
Yeah.
Crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road.
Have you been to Chowderheads in Jupiter yet? If you are looking for the best seafood in town, you have to try Chowderheads. You'll love their authentic New England seafood, flown in fresh from Boston. Their award-winning lobster rolls, clam chowder, and fried oysters are absolutely delicious. Come taste it for yourself. You will want to keep coming back for more at Chowderheads, located in the Driftwood Plaza on South US Highway 1 in Jupiter. Now open 7 days a week. For reservations or to go, call 561-203-2903 or check out their menu at chowderheadsusa.com.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to ask you a question. How important is a good night's sleep, and when was the last time you got one? I get one each and every night with the MyPillow mattress topper. They're 50% off now with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at mypillow.com. Pair it with new pillows and those fabulous Giza Dream Sheets. There's huge discounts on those too. Free shipping on all orders over $75 with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com. You'll thank me in the morning.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. You know, we have these new kittens. They're rescue kittens. My wife and I, we took in these 2 kittens. My brother-in-law called us up a couple weeks back, I don't know, maybe a month ago now. And one of his neighbors saw some people drop 2 kittens off on the side of the road, little tiny kittens, and we took them in. Their names are Pepsi-Cola and Coca-Cola, and they're about 10 weeks old. They're very little. When they first came home, we had to feed them with like a baby bottle. It was crazy. They're very little, and so we have them in our guest room. They're too little to run around the house now. They'll get lost. They're very little. We have a guest room, and we have the guest room all made up. We got them a cat house. We got all the cat toys. We got everything else. And every time I go into that room to hang out with them, to play with them, or check on them, they're on the bed. They're little tiny kids. They climb up on the bed. They're on the bed, and they're sleeping on the bed. On our guest bed, we have the MyPillow mattress topper. In fact, I've even taken a couple pictures of them and put on Instagram or on YouTube, and you can see they're on the MyPillow mattress topper. Even 10-week-old kittens, we've got beds and cat houses all over the room. 10-week-old little kittens, they know that the MyPillow mattress topper is the softest thing you could ever sleep on. It's absolutely amazing. The MyPillow mattress topper is as much as 50% off with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. Remember, the mattress toppers, up to 50% off, comes in every mattress size, comes with a 10-year warranty, a money-back guarantee, and free shipping with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Marlon, man. I'm that guy y'all love to hate. How you?
I don't hate you or like you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, listen, man. Okay. Hey, Brian, I've been listening to you for 4 years, right? And I think you're a good guy. I listen to you. I come in, I chime in and out. Sometimes I get on there. But I did do research on the donation. You say that this judge is a big donor, right? He donated to Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Okay, I did my research on that, and come to find out, he donated $15.
No. That's actually, he made millions from the Democrats during the trial. No. Tell me about the judge's daughter.
I don't get into politics.
Well, you called in about the judge. You're trying to clear the judge. You're trying to clear the judge. Well, you're going to learn. The judge's daughter, well, that's a double negative, which means you know everything about it, okay? I'm going to tell you. You don't even want to know. I'm going to tell you. No, excuse me. You don't know. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. The daughter she's part owner. She's a partner in a Democrat. That's his seed, his child. Let me finish telling you about the daughter, and then I'll answer. I think you know about the daughter. You just don't want me to say it. The daughter is a partner, and I'm going to tell you what she has to do with the judge, other than she's his child. Okay? Listen. Stop talking and listen. Stop talking and listen for a second. Okay? I know you don't want this out. I know. No, you listen for a second. This is what you brought up. I'm responding. The daughter is a part. Hear the panic in this voice? You're hysterical. You're like a woman. You're hysterical.
Look at the Democrat appellate court who lowered Trump's bail.
No, I'm talking about the judge now, which you brought up. We're not going to divert. The judge's daughter. Listen, I will have this conversation. I will have this conversation with you or without you. I want to remind you, if I hang up on you, I'm still talking to people. You're talking to yourself in the car, okay? No, you hold up. I'm done holding up for you, okay? I'm responding to what you said. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to mute you, okay? I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to mute you because you won't stop talking. Okay? Okay, you can control yourself. The daughter is part owner of a Democrat political consulting firm. Okay? During that time, she makes money off of this. She raises money from Democrats to donate to Democrats, and she makes a commission off of that. She raised, during the trial, $100 million from Democrats. She went around and had fundraisers and told Democrat donors, donate, and the pitch she was using is, we're sending Trump to prison. The judge in this, that very high-profile trial that the judge had going on in the courtroom, he allowed his daughter to have seats reserved, multiple seats reserved in his courtroom throughout the trial. And the daughter, this was not in the news, this came out at the end, the daughter was bringing donors to the courtroom, different donors on different days, so that they could see the trial and see Trump on trial in person. This was like something they would get in exchange for being a donor. The judge was selling seats to his courtroom to Democrat donors through the daughter. The daughter made over $10 million personally during and off of the trial, being donated by Democrats. When in Washington, there's in political circles, there's all kinds of rules and regulations about public officials not being able to profit off their office. However, their siblings and extended family can profit all day and all night. So what they do, the judge's daughter is to him what Hunter is to Joe. They use their children to collect the money. It's called money laundering. She's a bag man for the judge. So that $100 million that she raised, that $10 million she was paid, a big chunk of that's obviously for the judge. Why was he selling seats in his courtroom? Now you know. Now you know. Now respond. You said you didn't know. Now you know.
But I respect you, and I listen to you, and I think you're a good guy, But listen to one thing. Okay, the judge was Democrat, right? Now ask yourself, if me and you was in court, and the judge give us a direct order on the gag order, and say, you bet not go out there. What would happen to me and you if we disobey that gag?
Typically what happens when a defendant, typically what happens I'm trying to tell you, but you can't have did you ever learn how to have a conversation? When you violate gag orders in cases like this, what happens is to you or me is the same thing that happened to Trump. You get fined. But we're not billionaires, so we couldn't afford it. No, people. I've not seen people go to jail for violating gag orders. It may have happened. You get fined. You have to pay the clerk. Now, if you can't pay, you might go to jail. But Trump's a billionaire. He could pay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So now you know. But I noticed you said you didn't know about the daughter and the judge. What's your response? The judge was selling seats to the courtroom to Democrat donors.
But man, you know what? Y'all, listen, like I said, I respect you. I respect
Then if you respect me, answer to what I laid out to you.
But
hear how much shock he's in. You're in shock. You're stunned at what I shared. You are. You're speechless. You're stunned.
Dude, look, I own a construction company. I don't give a damn who in office, Trump, whatever. I got to get up and hit. I don't care who's in office. It don't bother me. A president do not affect what I'm getting out, get money.
Absolutely, he does. The economy affects everything. Yeah. How? No. What kind of construction business do you own? What kind of construction?
Dude, listen, I do roofing, I do drywall, I do all that.
Okay. So when it comes to how much more does it cost? I've seen builders talk about this. How much more does it cost for the lumber than it used to cost?
Because that was all a part of it. Listen,
How much more is lumber today than it was 3.5 years ago?
You're right. Because drywall is 4 years ago, drywall was $67 a sheet.
Now what?
Now that doubled.
Okay. So the drywall has doubled. It was half price of what it is now when Trump was president. It's doubled under Biden. You don't think Biden? Why has it sure does. Why has drywall doubled, do you think? Why has the price doubled? Drywall's been around forever, right? Why has it doubled?
Because of that COVID scam when they talking.
No, it's not. That's 4 years ago, man. That's half a decade ago. The reason that drywall has gone up is because of inflation, because of fuel prices, because of oil prices. Every level, that drywall, before it gets to you at the Home Depot, has to go through a whole supply chain from the manufacturing to get to you. The cost every step of the way has doubled because of fuel cost. Fuel costs have doubled. So the cost of bringing that drywall to the Home Depot is twice of what it used to be. No, that was 4 years ago. You guys can't blame everything on COVID. It's gas prices. Listen, I got to run for the bottom of the hour break. We're all very late. Thanks for the call. If you're on hold, stand by. Back after this.
Making morning radio great again.
I think you're going to really love it.
It's the Steve Kane Show.
All right, be right back, guys.
South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're off to a great start. It's going to be a rainy day. We're going to see on and off scattered showers throughout the course of today. 50% chance of that. And it's going to be quite humid. Highs in the upper 80s. Meanwhile, we're tracking 3 possible systems in the tropics, but none will affect South Florida at this point. I'm the WPBF 25 First Morning meteorologist, Sandra Shaw.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
There's a wreck in West Palm Beach. This traffic event sponsored by Progressive Insurance. On State Road 7 heading southbound past Okeechobee Boulevard, 2 right lanes are blocked from crash. And there's a wreck at Belvedere Road just east of Congress Avenue. And in Lake Worth, I-95, there's a wreck heading southbound approaching 10th Avenue. That's on the right shoulder, but it's solid from Belvedere Road. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save money on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. Again, that's Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. That's traffic. I'm Deputy Natalie Steele.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is Palm Beach County's only OTB location featuring exciting action from top horse tracks around the country, including thoroughbred action from New York, Kentucky, and California. And the Paddock Restaurant offers the ultimate sports and dining experience with over 140 new HD TVs, big screens, exceptional dining, and full bar. PBKC is your entertainment destination. Go to pbkennelclub.com.
Hi, this is Gabriel with Florida Cash Home Buyers, and we pay cash for houses. If you want to sell your home fast and easy without a realtor and save thousands in commissions and closing costs, call me at 561-570-7070. You can sell us your home in as little as 3
You're on hold. Hang in there.
honest offer. Our home buying process is simple, and we can make you a cash offer over the phone or in person, whatever works for you. Do you have a home that needs a lot of work? Did you inherit a house you don't want? No problem. We can buy your home no matter the condition or situation. You don't need to clean or fix anything, and there's no commissions or closing costs. If you want to sell your home fast and easy, we'll buy it. Call us today for a free offer. 561-570-7070. That's 561-570-7070. 561-570-7070.
And now, a message from Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com.
This is Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com.
All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And guys, you know, to help grow the channel, great way to do that. Like the video and subscribe. Like and subscribe. That helps a lot. And if you could take the video and share on your social media, your Discord servers, whatever groups you're in, that helps grow the channel too. So if you guys could do all that, I would very much appreciate it.
In the heat of the summer, act now at $500 off Radiant Barrier over 2,000 square feet and $1,000 off over 4,000 square feet, plus a 30% federal tax credit. So call now, 954-939.
Yeah, we had two Democrat guys in a row. You notice how little Democrats know? They're just not informed. You know?
All year, we offer same-day AC service and installation. Need to stay cold? Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. Zero down financing?
They don't know anything. That's why they're Democrats.
Call us today at 833.
When I shared with him, that last caller, about the judge, he was stunned.
Steve Kane Show listeners since 1993. Debbie even handles Steve Kane's Medicare. So if you're not happy with your current Medicare plan, give Debbie a call right now and go over the options. 954-753-8080. Debbie can help you no matter where you're located in the state of Florida. 954-753-8080. And online, iwilladvisors.com.
Now is the best time when the market is challenged to consider copper, gold, silver, battery metals, clean tech, biotech, and AI equities. Listen to Money Talk Radio South Florida with me, Ellis Martin, 9:30 a.m. weekdays here on your True Oldies station.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, you know that new commercial with me, recorded for Debbie and I Will Advisors. I said, you know, Debbie's family's been helping Steve Kane listeners since 1993. And you know how I put that date together? Her father-in-law, Adam Klatzoff, right? You guys remember Adam Klatzoff, you know, Captain Truth and all that? Her late father-in-law, she's taken over the company. But I when I did that commercial, the reason I got the 1993 year, and I remembered it so well, is because we had Debbie's father-in-law in studio talking about Hillary Care. Remember Hillary Care? When Bill Clinton was trying to have nationalized health care? That's how I got that 93 date. All right, so we had two liberal guys in a row calling in, two Democrats, and, you know, when people have the courage to call and be challenging and that, and they're polite and not using, you know, name-calling and stuff like a lot of the callers do, you know, I go a little easier on them, especially the guy who's new, okay, new to the program. When someone's new, I don't give them the treatment that I would give a regular veteran caller. But both of those Democrat callers, do you know what they have in common? They don't know anything about what the heck's going on in our country. That's why they're Democrats. In fact, the last caller, when I shared with him the information about the judge's daughter making tens of millions of dollars, $100 million in fundraising, and selling the seats to her daddy's courtroom during the Trump trial, he was shocked. He was speechless. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian, Victor Burlington. How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, I'm surprised you let that first one go for so long. But
well, he's a new listener and a first time caller, so I'm going to give the guy a little extra, you know, rope.
So talking about climate change and carbon emissions and
Yeah, all the MSNBC garbage.
yeah, the same talking points that they've been talking about for 10 years on those programs. I've been in a lot of different forms of work, and we used to use carbon for a lot of things. You actually use carbon to grow plants. I know that some people don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Carbon is used to grow plants, and I mean, in most greenhouses, they use stuff like that, and it's also used to purify the air as well as the water. So people that say that carbon is such a bad thing, but we use it for so many different things. You could take the carbon from your catalytic converter and in a small process make it usable. So they make so many things up.
Listen, as you grow older, okay, you live through these different waves, okay? We're at the end of the climate change wave. That's fading away. But when I was growing up, there was a couple of things that they, I've thought about writing a book called Liberal Urban Legends, because there's so many of them, Liberal Urban Legends. And that's a great title. By the way, since I've said it and I've written it down, I have the copyright on Liberal Urban Legends, okay? So don't use that title, guys. Isn't that a great book title, Liberal Urban Legends? But when I don't know, how old are you? Okay, you're probably too young for this. When I was in high school, they didn't have this climate change crap, but they told us that over 90% of the oxygen we breathe is produced by the rainforests of South America, and that each and every day an area of the rainforest the size of the state of Rhode Island, which by the way is the smallest state and smaller than Palm Beach County, but is lost. And by the year 2000, we're going to have an oxygen crisis. Now, that I haven't heard about the rainforest in 30 years. It's still there, I'm assuming. Another one they used to talk about was the holes in the ozone layer that aerosol cans, Lysol and hairspray, which was pretty popular in the 70s and 80s, hairspray, the aerosol cans were causing the hole in the ozone layer to grow larger and larger, and when the ozone layer disappears by the year 2000, the radiation from outer space is going to radiate the planet and kill us. That never happened. And the acid rain, guys, remember about acid rain? They made an episode of Different Strokes about acid rain when Dana Plato washed her hair with rainwater. It turned it green. What happened to acid rain? I haven't heard about that in 35 years. Scientists come up with all this crap. None of it's true, and it all fades away. Yeah.
And I usually revert to the 80s dictionary titles back when we were actually using books. Those definitions are always more accurate. And when I was taught climate in school, they always told us it was a 30-year measurement of the weather of an area. That was what I remember learning as climate ignition, and then they were able to change words right in front of people.
Yes.
People are so blind to the facts that science is broken. It's never proven 100% correct. It's always
well, the liberals fund science that gives them the conclusions they want. So, it's like, for example, the founder of the Weather Channel says global warming's not happening, it's a lie. He does, he and his scientists don't get funding. But if you say global warming's real, then you get all the funding.
That's what I agree to, is that the way that they've taken over education in general is broken a lot of what we've been able to accomplish.
And so far as this weather, like they're saying this heat wave, it's the freaking summer, all right? Of course it's hot. Give me a break. But, this thing about the reason that it's not just because the politics of the news, works its way in the weather. That's a large part of it. But the reason that it appears that there's more bad weather around the world is because we have technology to see things around the world we couldn't see before, right? And there's 24 hours. I have the Weather Channel and the Fox. Fox has their own Weather Channel. It's an app. I got that, and I got the Weather Channel. We see weather in places we never saw it before. So it appears that there's more bad weather, but it's the same. I give you an example. In the War of 1812, the British burned down Washington, right? Burned down the White House. They lit the entire city on fire. Do you know why the whole city didn't burn down? In the War of 1812, the Brits lit the whole city on fire, D.C. It didn't all burn down. You know why? There was a hurricane hit Washington, D.C. and during the War of 1812. Put the fires out. Okay, you don't hear that. The Bermuda Triangle. Here we are in Florida. Fort Lauderdale is one of the points of the Bermuda Triangle. It's not space aliens. Okay, it's not a black hole. The secret of the Bermuda Triangle are hurricanes, right? Planes and ships years ago would get in a hurricane. Now we have advanced weather predicting and satellite, all this stuff. They don't go out in the bad weather anymore, so that it doesn't happen anymore. There's always been bad weather. It's all nonsense.
Storms now, but things to advocate for safety.
But if you listen to both of those callers, the one liberal was on the convictions of Trump, the other one was on the climate change racket. Both callers don't know anything. They're not informed.
The fact that he didn't bring up that they were bringing federal charges in a state court for that.
Exactly.
Kind of it's mind-blowing to me that people are so blinded to their own strategies of what they think is helping them in life that his own words were drywall doubled in price.
Yeah.
I'm in a retail business. I have, connections to mattress stores and mattress facilities and bread and all types of facilities that I deliver for. And all of these places are struggling. They're changing the springs inside the mattresses to make them cheaper. They're using different things to make everything cheaper.
Go out and buy an RV. I see people with RVs. They're driving down the road, brand new RVs. They get to their destination, they're falling apart because they're making them cheaper now. They don't use nails, they use glue, to keep the stuff together inside. Everything's being made cheap. Even myself, when my daughter grew up and moved out, my wife and I stopped cooking at home and ate out every meal, pretty much, because we only eat like once a day, right? We're not big eaters, and who wants to deal with that? You get old. Now we're eating at home. Cooking. I've cooked a couple times this week, because it's expensive.
It's just part of life. But, the whole deal of what they've done with the food in general is insane. The fact that they were able to keep these prices so high for so long.
And that last caller in the construction business, drywall has doubled in the last 3.5 years, and he doesn't see a connection between, even when I explain it, well, he doesn't want to see it. He's blinded. On Juneteenth, a black man blinded. He should be more awake than that. All right, thanks for the call. I got to run. There is only one opening on the board. Every line on the board is lit except where I was talking to that nice gentleman from Wellington. We'll take our break and be back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hey, grab your flip-flops and get ready for a summer in paradise on Margaritaville at Sea, where cruises to the Bahamas now start at just $75 a person for a limited time. It's the night away at our high-energy poolside parties then settle in for island-inspired cuisine night after night with your favorite plus one. From fins up to sundown, a Bahamas getaway with Margaritaville at Sea is the perfect summer refresh. Book it today and lock in your savings on your next cruise together at MargaritavilleAtSea.com.
Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about my anti-aging doctor, Dr. Mitch Matez at the Biostation West LA, and hormone replacement pellet therapy. Hormone replacement pellet therapy is all natural. What it does is restore your hormones to where they were when you were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, you'll have more energy, you'll get your sex drive back, and women, hormone replacement pellet therapy completely stops and reverses all the signs and symptoms of menopause. Mood swings gone, night sweats gone. I've met listeners before and after hormone replacement pellet therapy with Dr. Matez, and when I first meet him, they're like Joe Biden, and no one wants to be like him. And then I meet him again after they began hormone replacement pellet therapy, and they have their energy back, just like Trump. They're standing up tall, and they feel years younger. Now, it's always a free consultation with Dr. Matez when you tell him you heard about him on the radio. 561-320-8893. 561-320-8893. When it comes to television, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie. Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to the sky. Welcome to it. 6 days supposed to keep going. Lasted 2 years.
Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain system. I'm in studio right now with Dr. Appleton. Dr. Appleton, how'd you do it?
By treating your knee pain with laser, treatment is simple and no side effects. I have robotic lasers that have a wonderful effect on joint pain. These are all FDA.
Exactly. Now, you don't just help with knees. Tell the listeners what other areas you
Yeah.
Any joint I can do, shoulder pain, hip pain, sciatica, stenosis, arthritis, tendonitis, bursitis, from the foot all the way up to the neck.
Dr. Appleton is a chiropractic physician, and with the laser away pain system, there's no injections, no surgery, and no drugs. He's open 6 days a week, and same-day appointments are available. Call right now for your free consultation. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Make sure to tell Dr. Appleton you heard about him on the radio.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show.
All righty. Our board is lit. My name is Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. The board is on fire this morning. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dude, from Florida.
Oh, yes. Full board of calls. I got to go to this guy. This is why I don't get. This is why I don't gamble.
Actually, it's going to get hot. You don't gamble. I don't gamble either. Hey, it's gonna get hotter and hotter every year. All right. The thing is that the Bible said that you ain't cursed God because of the heat.
So what do you do? What are you doing for? What are you doing to celebrate Juneteenth?
Well,
you know. What's Juneteenth? Do you know what Juneteenth is about? What's Juneteenth about? What's Juneteenth about?
It's the day we got delivered from slavery. See, that's what I hate.
You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know.
Deliverance of slavery. Man.
No, it's not. No.
Loose from our bondage.
No, that's not true. No. The Republican president Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves.
But that was the day that it was declared. That
Nope. You don't even know. No, it's not. Nope. Now, I'll tell you, on Juneteenth, this is what it symbolizes. Lincoln freed the slaves, right, with the Emancipation Proclamation. After the Civil War was over, okay, Democrats, because slaves on the plantation didn't have access to the media, they couldn't read. The Democrat slave owners lied to them. Republican soldiers, that's the Union Army, went into the former Confederate state of Texas and found a plantation in Texas where Democrats were still holding African Americans as slaves. Didn't tell them that Republican Abraham Lincoln freed them. So Juneteenth, it remembers the day when the last blacks held illegally in bondage and slavery by Democrats were told they were free.
Even though they were free, they still was being racial profiled.
Racial profile? I mean, what does that mean? Do you know, okay, and this was, slow down. In 1865, the Civil War was over, slavery was ended. What right did black men have that white women did not?
They didn't have rights.
No, they did. No, they did. No, absolutely they did. And in 1865, the Democrat insurrection known as the Civil War was over, black men could do something that white women could not do. And I don't mean peace standing up. What do you think it was? Yeah, black men could vote in 1865, right? White women couldn't do it for over 50 years later in 1920. So that Lincoln did that. Abraham Lincoln and the Republicans gave black men the vote before white women could even vote.
Because of it.
That's correct. The Democrats assassinated Republican Abraham Lincoln. That's correct.
Supremacists.
Democrats.
Like slaves being free. They want.
Yeah, Democrats. You're absolutely correct. All right, appreciate the call. See, we did a little Juneteenth lesson to the caller today. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Louise, the masked lady in Boca.
Hey, Louise.
Hi. I am very disturbed. I only offhandedly heard about this new ruling about the spouses given citizenship.
Yeah, this is great. Like, say that, not citizenship, amnesty. So if I am married, I'm going to explain to you, Louise. I'm going to explain to you. If I am married, oh my goodness. Okay, say what you're going to.
The question is, are these people going to be able to vote?
Well, for me to answer that, you have to wait. I'll answer it. So what Biden has done, if I am harboring a fugitive from federal justice, okay, which would be a wife that's in this country illegally, right? I am married. Well, maybe not everybody knows as much as you do, okay? You're aware that people are listening to this conversation other than you, Louise, right? You didn't just call some guy on the phone and this is not a private conversation. There's thousands of people listening. Well, I'm trying to tell you what happened yesterday. So what Biden did yesterday, if you are an American who was illegally harboring a fugitive from justice, an illegal immigrant, and you're married, they are now a legal resident of the United States. That's what he's done. But they're not citizens. You have to be a citizen to vote legally.
So they can vote. Okay.
They cannot legally vote. If they vote, they're breaking the law. They're breaking another federal crime. But I don't know how you can trust them. They've been in this country, many of them, for decades as federal fugitives. So why do you think they're going to be law-abiding now?
I know. That's what's concerning me. This is upsetting.
Well, that's the Democrats. Millions. And they're and I want you to think about it. We're all right anyway. All right, boy. That's why she's single at age whatever. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yes, you're on the air.
This is Sheila from Illinois.
Hey, what's up?
I had heard, talking about this climate change. They're wanting to kill all the cows now because cow farts.
What? Oh, that's what AOC says. Yes, cow. Yes, correct.
And I think that's so silly.
I can't think of anything more natural than passing gas.
And it's just another one of those fads that comes along year after year.
Well, there's a lot of money in it. There's a lot of money in it, and anything that there's a lot of money in, people are going to try to get in on that. But this is what I was talking about earlier. This came up because MSNBC is blaming the summertime on global warming. It gets hot every summer, Joy Reid. Okay, but we're facing the end of climate change. The whole racket, the whole political movement has collapsed. People aren't buying it anymore.
And praise God for that.
All right, good. Yes, passing gas causes problems. They think. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Yes.
Hi, this is Joan from Tampa Bay. How you doing?
All right, Joan.
I remember, I'm an old lady, okay? I'm going to be 68. I grew up in Brooklyn until I was about 12, 13 years old, okay? I remember 1964 or 1965, I forget, it got to like 104 in New York City. The Belt Parkway buckled up. They closed it down.
That's right.
Bridge buckled up. They closed it down. Washington Bridge buckled up. They closed it down. So,
That's right.
The change, for Pete's sakes, it was summer. It was hot. Period. Another thing, why aren't they planting tree farms to put more stuff into, more oxygen into the...
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I remember, so far as, it's hot in Florida, it must be climate change. When I first moved to Florida, things are different now, but when I first moved to Florida and went to school here, it was 81 or 82. I was in 5th grade. And I was shocked that the schools, because those schools I went to, they were built like in the 50s, 60s, some in the 40s. We didn't have air conditioning in the public schools in Florida back then. I'm sorry, not air conditioning. We didn't have heat. We didn't have heat because of the winter, right? Because it's always hot in Florida. We had air conditioner, but we didn't have heat. And I couldn't believe that there was, because in Ohio we had heat in the schools. It's always hot in the summer. It's always hot all year long in Florida, okay? There's no climate change. There's no global warming. It's all a lie.
Down to Florida from New York City proper, right? Back in the 60s, I went to a junior high school, and there was no air conditioning.
Yeah, today they would arrest the school district for that. That would be like abuse. No air conditioning in the school. Could you imagine?
Back then, there was no air conditioning there. When when our house was built in Fort Lauderdale area, and it was a newer school, it had air conditioning.
Well, a lot of that was, central air was still kind of new. Like in my mother's house that she lives in now, when she bought the house, it didn't have central air in it. They had wall units and jalousie windows, because central air was kind of new. It was an old house. But, here's the thing. Everything liberal is falling apart now. The entire Democrat Party is fractured. Okay? They're losing everything because the American people have woken up. Listen, we're out of time for the hour. Thanks for the call. We've had great calls today. Some of them not so great. But we've had some pretty good calls, and we got an hour to go. But the liberals that have called in, it takes a lot of guts because when you call, you're going to be challenged. So anyone who's liberal that doesn't use profanity or name calling the calls in, you got to give them credit. It takes a lot of guts to do that. It really does. All right. 2 hours down, 1 to go. The show is flying by. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. We'll take our break for the top and be back with Steve Kane after this.
WSFS 104.
There's a wreck at Belvedere Road just east of Congress Avenue. And in Lake Worth, I-95, there's a wreck heading southbound approaching 10th Avenue. That's on the right shoulder, but it's solid for Belvedere Road. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save money on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. Again, that's Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. That's traffic and everything that they steal.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Come out to the poker room at PBKC with 65 tables.
Oh yeah, he'll take care of it.
Daily for cash games,
that was
daily
one of
high
my
hands, mega bad
fallbacks
beat
just
jack-
in case.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to be.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. He knows more about it than all of us.
I feel like they'll definitely avoid all the headaches. I mean, obviously there's going to be headaches, but like at least someone that's in the actual field.
Oh, yeah.
Because at the enterprise situation, but their cars are, I mean, no haggle, but it's really expensive. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, he'll want you to get a good deal.
yeah. And then, like you said, obviously, feel like he was wanting me to spread the word. You know?
Exactly.
Which I would gladly do. I just
Yeah. Guys, make sure you like the video, guys. That helps so much to grow the channel. Please like the video if you've not already done so. Only about half of you watching right now have liked the video. Thank you, Dee. Yeah, Trump actually served in the military for the same amount of time as President Clinton, President Obama, and Biden combined. Think about that. Donald Trump has served in the military for as long as Clinton, Obama, and Biden combined. That's right. Think about that. That's amazing. All right, we're coming back.
561-237-5009. Any lab test now at Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. And don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right. The third hour has begun. Our number 1-888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Steve joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Oh, man, good. Did you see Trump's rally yesterday?
I did not.
Oh.
It.
It wasn't on Newsmax? Oh, it was great in Wisconsin.
It wasn't on Newsmax.
It was great. I mean, I couldn't believe how many people were there on a Tuesday. Thousands and thousands for an afternoon rally in Wisconsin. It was absolutely amazing.
I came up with, out of my favorite source, the New York Post.
Oh.
The reason they're my favorite source is because they have always had positive news.
Why? What's the bad news?
There are three things I'm hoping will turn out not to be true. The new Marist poll in the poll. Well, this is a source in the New York Post. The Marist poll has, this is from overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Trump and Biden even.
It's a national poll. That's a national poll.
At 49% each.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Well, that poll's meaningless. It's a national poll. They're talking to people in California and Seattle. Come on, who cares?
Was under the impression we were doing pretty well all over?
When they poll Democrats, they're still, we are doing well. I don't trust any polls. The polls are fake unless Trump's ahead. Now, but I'll tell you, I was watching the rally yesterday in Wisconsin, and I saw a guy that he had a sign. It was the best. It was the best. It was so funny. This guy at the Trump rally, he says, "I'm voting for the convicted felon," and I like that because I'm going to vote for the convicted felon. You going to vote for the convicted felon? Isn't that great? I love it. I love it. And I was watching yesterday Newsmax. I wanted to play this because this was. And by the way, Newsmax carried the rally yesterday. I'm told. I watched it online. But anyway, yesterday on Newsmax, they had the RNC chairman on, Michael Whatley. I know it's really run by the Trumps. He's the front man. It's really run by Lord Trump. But anyway, Michael Whatley, he was on Newsmax. He's been interviewed by Rob Finnerty on Newsmax. And Rob on Newsmax, he kept asking him, will President Trump, I'm going to play the audio, but he's asking if President Trump will be giving his nomination acceptance speech from Rikers Island. Listen.
We fully expect that he's going to be in Milwaukee and able to accept his nomination.
Okay, but what we talked about this a week ago. You've got a plan for any eventuality. Have you started that process of planning or preparing for the fact that maybe Donald Trump is forced to deliver a speech from someplace like Rikers Island or maybe pre-record a speech? It's something that you've got to plan for because no one has any idea what Judge Juan Merchan's going to do in Lower Manhattan on July the 11th.
We will have every contingency covered, but I'm telling you this, we fully expect that he is going to be there in Milwaukee to accept his nomination, and we look forward to it. I think the construction on the arena right now is underway. The last time I was up there last week, it looks absolutely fantastic, and it's going to be a fantastic opportunity for us to roll out his plan for the next 4 years.
Does the convention still happen if he's not able to attend for whatever reason?
Well, it is going to happen, and we are fully expecting to have him there. And I think that, again, when you look at all of the stars in the Republican constellation right now, we feel like we are a true representation of the American dream, and that's why we're so excited to have everybody together in Milwaukee.
Okay, so this guy, I was thinking about that. Don't you think it would be better if President Trump gave the acceptance speech at Rikers? I think that would be more impactful for us. Would you rather him give the acceptance speech in Milwaukee or Rikers?
I don't know. It's a lot of developments between now and then.
Oh, it'd be beautiful. It'd be great. Juan Merchan's a crook. He's a crooked judge. Everybody knows he's a crooked judge. They got a crooked jury. That story disappeared. If he...
Red news seems to turn in our favor when it comes out.
Exactly. I'll throw this out to he may give him house arrest or something. If he is under house arrest or at Rikers, that's much better for a place. Yeah.
I've got my little list of things to...
Do you want to be depressed?
No, I want to set the record straight. Because if I read this, other people have read it too. So that's why I come to you for the good news. I remember. Do you know he's still under the gag order?
Yes.
It appears from what I could put together in reading the New York Post, they plan on keeping him under the gag order.
Yes.
The implication is through the
yes. The appeals court upheld the gag order from Judge Merchan.
He's not going to be so how can he participate?
He's been violating it. He violates it. The gag order only prevents him from talk. It doesn't prevent him from, no, not the Supreme Court. It doesn't prevent him from talking. It prevents him from talking about the judge, the judge's family, or the judge's staff. Maybe the prosecution in that case, too. Yeah, that's it.
Or any of the unfairness and unconstitutionality of the procedures up to this point?
No, I hear him talking about that all the time. He's talking about that yesterday in Wisconsin. It's only, it's only about the judge, the judge's family, the staff, that kind of stuff. It's not that he's not allowed to talk.
Well, a lot of the things they delineated were parts of the procedure.
No, he's still allowed to talk. And if he does, he just gets fined. And he pays the fine. He's rich. He says what he wants to say, and he pays the fine. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. Everything's fine. There's no bad news for Trump. None. Zero. There's negative bad news. There's nothing but good news. We have so much good news. That's why they're in a panic. They're in a complete panic on the left.
All right.
So you got to stop reading the New York. The New York Post is the same people that do Fox. So they got things from a very negative perspective. Or your eye. I don't know. I think your eyes gravitate towards the bad news. Because I get the New York Post delivered at home.
Yeah, Paulette says
who cares?
Up today 50-50. That is me.
That doesn't. Please. No. Those are push polls. I'd have to look at the methodology to see who they polled. You saw it in the New York Post? I'll see if I can pull it up before the end of the show. Is it in today's New York Post? What's the name of the poll? How do you spell Marist? Okay, I'll try to find it during the break, and I'll see if I can find the breakdown. I got the poll. I'll see if I can find the internals. No, I got the poll. I just got it, but I can't do it live on the air. I'll see if I can find out the methodology, like who they polled. Okay, I just pulled it up. Here's they surveyed 1,311 people. First off, so 1,311 people, that's the whole country. That means something. That's such a tiny sample, Steve. Give me a break. There were more people lined up at the urinal at the rally yesterday in Wisconsin. So you got 1,311 people. It's a poll of adults, which when you go, it's a left-leaning poll. It's only 1,311 people, okay? in a poll of adult, I just pulled up the poll. I haven't even gotten into details yet. When you're doing political polling, there's 3 types of survey samples: adults, registered voters, and likely voters. Likely voters are registered voters who have voted in the last 2 elections and say they're going to vote in the next one. Registered voters are registered. They may never have voted, but they're registered. Adults means they're talking to people that may not even be registered to vote, and it's the least scientific of all. So it's any poll that's done of adults is a left-leaning poll. So you got a left-leaning poll where they polled fewer people than were in line at the urinal at the rally yesterday Trump had in Wisconsin, and you're supposed to get depressed over that? I mean, that's crazy, Steve. I mean, that's like nothing. That's like nothing. And I'll try to find out the breakdown of I mean, look at this. Okay, here I just pulled. This is not some deep dive. I just pulled it up while Steve and I are yakking here. Okay, so here's who they polled. This poll is the New York Post should be ashamed of themselves for even printing this filth. Okay. Not with this fake poll. So they got the least accurate poll. They polled just adults, left leaning. 36% of those that were polled identified as Democrats. 35% identified as Republicans. So well, they bite, and I'm not done. Wait till I get the next one. So they oversampled Democrats by a point already, but then 29% say they're independent. Okay, when people say they're independent, most of those are lying Democrats that are lying. They would say I'm voting Republican. So so it's 35% Republican. So then you've got 36, then you got like 70% Democrat in that poll. It's like 70% Democrats in that poll. 30%, 35% Republican. So how can you take a poll like that serious? I mean it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. I mean, give me a break. The poll is totally fake. They survey 65% Democrats, and by the way, that means it's a pro-Trump poll. 65% of those surveyed are Democrats, and it's basically 50-50, right? So that's amazing. So if you had a real poll done, that would give Trump a massive lead. Yeah, well, no, they're not even. If they polled 65% Democrats and that poll says they're even, that means Trump's way, way ahead. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our first break of this hour and be back.
Live on air now, 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire and Market on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Hey, my true oldies listeners, John Tesh here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you don't trust and experience are two big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to get local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or even simpler, you can go to JupiterJoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll see the free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know It All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com.
Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. I am pleased to say
This is nuts.
the relationship with the Steve Kane Show and the show's listeners keeps getting stronger and stronger. The Steve Kane Show listeners are truly the best customers I've ever had. They are
Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere.
Wait till you hear, Steve, the breakdown on this poll. You're gonna, oh boy! If you're on hold, stand by. I want to ask you the most important question I'm going to ask of anyone today. Do you or someone you know suffer from neuropathy? You know, if you or someone you know or love suffer from neuropathy, listen up. You know, neuropathy is living torture. The symptoms of neuropathy make life almost unlivable. I mean, they do. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in the hands and feet, dizziness, muscle twitching, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet. Some have no feeling at all. Some have all these symptoms on rotation. You know, it's amazing. And your doctor will tell you there's no treatment for neuropathy. Well, your doctor just doesn't know what he's talking about. There is a treatment, and a treatment that works at Lighthouse Medical Center. Give them a call. No matter where you're located in America, Lighthouse Medical Center can help you. They're located in Pompano. Their number, 754-222-6642. Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano has been in practice for 75 years with the same family of physicians. Same family of physicians, 75 years in Pompano. 754-222-6642. You can find them online at lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Give them a call. When you call, mention you heard about them on the radio, because then you get the no-charge consultation, all right? lighthousemedicalcenter.com is their website. Okay, so here's the first question, Steve. This poll that the New York Post that has you down in the dumps. Do you approve or disapprove of the job Joe Biden is doing as president? This is, do you approve? This is the sample size, okay? Well, I'm not asking you. These are the people they polled. 47% of their sample in this poll that's all over the news today, 47% strongly approve of Joe Biden's job as president. 36% approve. That's over 80%. Over 80% of the people they polled say they approve of the job that Biden's doing as president. No, that means it's a fake poll. It's overweighted with liberal Democrat dimwits. That's what I'm saying. That's not even. It's not if over 80% are approving of the job this guy's doing with our country being invaded, our women being raped and murdered by illegals, the southern border erased, prices have doubled, right? The wars that are going on, and over 80% of those they poll approve of him as his job as president. That's his junkie kid just got convicted on federal gun charges. It's not a valid poll. It's a Democrat propaganda push poll. Throw that paper away. Burn it. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Glenn in Parkland.
Hey.
Okay, so just let me say something about the Marist poll, because I do study this. Marist is, forget the breakdown of the poll. Look at the history of the poll over the last 6 months. They had Biden up by 2 right before the conviction. Now they have it tied. So take that into consideration. Take into consideration Reuters had Biden up by 4 in April. Now they have Trump up by 2. If you take into consideration Marist back in 2020, NPR Marist had Biden up by 11 before the election. He won by 4. So all the polls right now, if you take the average from 4 years ago and average it out now, Trump is ahead of his running in 2020 by about 8 points.
Yeah. See, the poll, if you notice, things are tightening up in the polls are all fake that we see. The real polls are, they call them internals. We never see them. The polls that we have access to are fake push polls, and they call them push polls because the purpose of the polls is to have fake news report them and to push you into a certain feeling, like Steve, who woke up, read this, and got the razor blades out. I mean, come on.
Or just Google. If you just Google Real Clear Politics 2020, not by, and then look at now, it's an 8-point difference all across the board. Biden has to win by at least 4 just to win the election.
Oh yeah, they're in big trouble. They're in big trouble. They're in big trouble, and there's no one who disagrees with that. It's pretty much over for him. Well, you should know so by now.
Look at the poll that came out of Iowa a couple of days ago. She is the most respected pollster in the Midwest. She had Trump up by 7 in 2020. He won by 8 in Iowa, and then she has him now up by 18. She's not a skewed poll. She has them up by 18 in Iowa. That will filter into Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota. They're the same kinds of people up there.
You know, I think with Steve, I think Steve likes therapy, and I think he likes to wake up and get depressed, and then have me and callers be his therapist and cheer him up. That's what I think.
For what you see, Steve, the fact that this worries you, this is good news to me. If Marist has them tied, that means Trump's winning by probably 4-6.
Mm-hmm. And their left-leaning poll that oversamples Democrats.
Correct.
Which is amazing. You know, I give you an example, and I'm sure you'll agree with this caller. When Trump had that round table in the black church in Detroit, he was at a round table sitting down with, those weren't politicians, those were regular Detroit residents. You could tell by their questions and their clothes. Right? These weren't some flashy politicians. They were regular people. They were also Democrats, black Democrats in Detroit. Not only that, lifelong Democrats, multi-generational Democrats. A lot of people are voting for Trump, and they're still Democrat. And they might vote Democrat on other things on the ballot, but they're voting for Trump, lifelong Democrats. It's amazing.
You mentioned something I wanted to remind you.
By the way, thanks for the call. Great call. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, it's no big thing.
No.
There were a couple of Senate seats up last night.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't follow that. I don't know how those turned out. I don't know. Oh, okay. See what I mean? I don't know. I'm sure they do. If somebody knows, call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, there you go. That was your answer, Steve, the Democrats. But I'll tell you this, okay? That thing in Detroit, a couple things about Detroit I just want to highlight since I mentioned it. I talked about this on Monday. Those were black Democrats Trump met with. But if you noticed, there were no protest against Trump. And that trip at the church was announced and planned weeks in advance. And there was no, and one of the bluest cities in America, there was no protest against Trump. That's how popular he is, even in Detroit. Okay? It's absolutely amazing. We're in historic times. But the thing about that, though, like I say, a lot of these Democrats are going to vote for him, but they're going to vote for Democrats, many of them, on other things on the ballot, including congressional races. These are not going to be people that go straight down the line Republican a lot of times. It's going to be mixed, okay? So, but that's okay. As long as they vote for Trump, we're cool, okay? We're going to get the House. I don't know about the Senate, because that's always more tricky. We're going to get the House. We'll have a larger, safe majority in the House. He's going to win, and that's what's important right now. I can't worry about every race on the ballot. You know what I mean?
House work?
Oh, we're doing well in all the polls, everywhere. All right, listen, we got to take our break for the bottom of the hour, okay? I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Senate races that I saw last night or yesterday afternoon, evening. Two people that Trump was going to endorse were against each other. One won, and the other, who Trump was originally going to endorse, endorsed DeSantis instead for president originally. So Trump backed out, and he lost.
Oh, there you go.
So just another.
There you go.
For Trump, who he chose instead against the DeSantis one.
Exactly.
And I'll take care of the conservative argument.
of this exec, they can remain together as a whole family.
Guys, make sure you like the video. Liking the video helps a lot, guys. It helps grow the channel. Let's see, I've got that. What was the other? Oh, yes.
Even if you're on the go, call 561-355-5341. Testosterone therapy rejuvenates you with renewed joy in life with a free consultation and test as quick as 15 minutes. Treat your ED with Gaines Wave, non-invasive sound waves in your blood vessels. Proven by clinical research that it is safe and provides long-term results when you're in the bedroom. Consider HGH therapy to rev up your engine with HGH peptides, helping men fight fatigue and trim belly fat. A 100% bioidentical hormones facility, Game Day Men's Health will get you back in the game in no time. 561-355-5341. Visit our new location in Palm Beach Gardens on the corner of North Lake and North Military Trail. Their enjoyable man cave environment provides refreshments and flat-screen TVs, aided by expert licensed staff who specialize in male health and wellness. Nothing else compared. Call 561-355-5341 or online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com for more information. Don't sideline your well-being. Let Game Day Men's Health help you score big.
And now a message from Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com.
This is Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com. I'm back. Dog days of summer are upon us. Your AC is struggling, running constantly, trying to hold the temperature, maybe even failing late afternoon. Your electric bill has gone up, even doubled. Radiant Barrier is the cure. Stop the heat gain, lowering the temperatures in the attic up to 40 degrees, cutting the FPL bills up to 40%. Dog days of summer sales. Save 50% on Radiant Barrier and insulation removal, rat proofing. We even do AC dust in the heat of the summer. Act now and get $500 off Radiant Barrier over 2,000 square feet and $1,000 off over 4,000 square feet.
We're back in 30 seconds.
30% federal tax credit. So call now 954-939-1500 to save big. Call 954-939-1500 and talk to the owner, Scott. It's 954-939-1500. CutMyKilowatts.com. Estimates given on the phone. Work done in days, not weeks. Easier than ordering a pizza.
At All Year, we offer same-day AC service and installation. Need to stay cool? Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. Zero down financing? Yes, all year. Call us today at 833-ALL-YEAR. That's 833-ALL-YEAR.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. You know, I got some new things. One last thing on that poll, though, Steve. You know, look at how quickly we just totally exposed that poll as fake. It took while Steve and I were talking, I just was Googling and exposed the poll right there. And these people in the media, they don't do any of that. It's all the information. Okay, I want to play this clip. This is, you know, what Biden did yesterday by giving amnesty to all these federal fugitives, right? Illegals that are married to U.S. citizens. Pretty disgusting. This is a spokesperson who was on TV yesterday from the Biden-Harris campaign, Julie Chavez, talking about this. Let's play this. This was on CBS yesterday.
they can remain together as a whole family here in this country as a result of this executive order. Those are the things that matter most. And those are the ways in which President Biden continues to fight for, communities across this country that, really deserve the opportunity that we know is so important in this election.
Okay, I'm going to talk about all this stuff here. Yeah.
What's happening to America?
Yeah, he's the president of the United States of America, not South America. Okay, give me a break. This guy whose junkie son was just convicted of those federal charges. His mob wife, Jill Biden, said the other day that the Biden family support the justice system. My husband will not commute nor pardon our junkie son. They're law and order. He just gave amnesty to, they say 500,000, it's probably millions, of federal fugitives, illegals in this country. Okay? That's nuts. They're federal fugitives. Now, this woman here, she's a real beaut. Okay? This is Julie Chavez. Okay, she's the granddaughter of Cesar Chavez. Cesar Chavez agrees with. He's long dead, but when he was alive, Cesar Chavez, her granddaddy, supported Trump's position on the southern border. Cesar Chavez was the head of the Farm Workers Union, right, Steve? And Cesar Chavez not only was against an open border because the illegals were coming here and taking all the farm jobs away from his union members. This woman's grandfather, Cesar Chavez, used to lead patrolling the southern border, catching border jumpers. Okay? He was, and she probably doesn't even know that about her grandfather because they've made a whole living off of this crap. They're like Martin Luther King's family, right? And they're the new King family, the Chavez family. She's a pig. And what she's doing here is disgusting. He's legalizing illegal things and then says, well, there's no crime now. Yeah. And by the way, not only are these federal fugitives from justice that he gave amnesty to, they and their husbands or wives that they're married to have been doing all kinds of things illegally, not just hiding from the government. They've benefited from government things that they're not even qualified for legally. There's so many crimes committed by these people. It's disgusting. So, Julie her name is Julie Chavez Rodriguez, but she drops the Rodriguez because everyone just cares about that Chavez name. But it tells you the world she's in. I want to share this. I got a few audio clips I'm going through quickly in this segment because they're important and they may be dated after today. Did you see this thing with the head of the Chicago Teachers Union? Oh my goodness. Chicago, the new mayor, he just took a picture with all the staff. They have the blackest city government in the history of Chicago. And they took a picture. Yeah. Apparently they celebrated by, more people getting murdered over the weekend in Chicago. I mean, there was like another mass shooting thing going on. The only thing that seems to stop shootings in Chicago is when the cold winter comes in and all the gangbangers hibernate like bears. Yeah. And then when it thaws, they come out and start shooting each other again. But this is the head of the Chicago Teachers Union, and she gave an interview to a local radio station in Chicago. And I'll play you the audio. She doesn't think that Republicans want black people to learn to read. Okay, this is the head of the Teachers Union. She's black, head of the Chicago Teachers Union, on a radio interview yesterday in Chicago.
Now, to take care of the conservative argument. Number one, conservatives don't even want black children to be able to read. Remember, these same conservatives are the conservatives who probably would have been championing black codes, during Reconstruction or thereafter. So forgive me again if conservatives pushing back on educating immigrant children, black children, children who live in poverty, doesn't make my anxiety go up. That's what they're supposed to say. That is literally a part of the oath that they take to me.
Okay. So what she said there at the end, because it was clipped so quickly, it's hard to make out. But I'll play let me play the end again, because I want to highlight that. Okay, hold on.
Children who live in poverty doesn't make my anxiety go up. That's what they're supposed to say. That is literally a part of the oath that they take to be right wing.
Okay, so she's an oath. Yeah, you haven't. No. Yeah, the right. Yeah. Well, she said yes. This is the head of the Chicago Teachers Union. Okay. She said that Republicans don't want blacks to know how to read. You want your kid? I want my daughter to read, Steve. You want your black kids to read? and she said the reason that Republicans don't want black kids to read, but is to become a Republican, you have to take the right-wing oath. And in the right-wing oath, you swear an oath to oppose black people learning to read. That's what she said. I'll play it again in its entirety, but that's what she said.
Conservative argument. Number one, conservatives don't even want black children to be able to read. Remember, these same conservatives are the conservatives who probably would have been championing black codes, during Reconstruction or thereafter. So forgive me again if conservatives pushing back on educating immigrant children, black children, children who live in poverty, doesn't make my anxiety go up. That's what they're supposed to say. That is literally a part of the oath that they take to be right wing.
Wow. I've never taken the right wing oath. Have you taken the right wing oath? I've never taken it. You know, the thing about this isn't funny, even though I laughed. This is the head of the teachers union, and a lot of times, this is an amazing thing. And I'll illustrate this a different way. When the Elian Gonzalez thing was going on in Miami, okay, this was a big thing. A lot of the Cuban activists in Miami were going on Spanish language radio and were saying crazy things that they weren't saying in English language media. They were talking about like invading Cuba, right, and things. And I remember, you still with me, Steve? I heard it. Okay, because I heard a click and I lost you. Okay. And this will explain this woman, okay, and what happened here. But I remember when you and I we went down to Elian Gonzalez's house when he was there. We got to see him with our own eyes, before Clinton snatched him. But I remember one of the Miami mayors, I think it was Suarez, one of the big Miami mayors was down there, and he said, "Stop saying things in Spanish that you won't say in English, because they're listening. And when you talk about invading Cuba, that's going to end up on CNN. So stop saying that, because we're rational." What this woman just did from the teachers union in Chicago, that was not meant for white people to hear. Okay? And what you got was a glimpse of black racism. This is how liberal black racists speak about white people when they don't think we're listening. And we white people aren't supposed to know about that. And she's out there spreading something which she may believe, because she could be very brainwashed herself, like Cesar Chavez's granddaughter, who's advocating for things that her father risked his life against, that Republicans don't want black people to read, and there's this secret oath. I guess when you become a Mason and all that stuff, you take an oath. We take this oath to be right wing, and in that oath we swear that we oppose literacy of African Americans. I mean, for her to say that on the radio in Chicago is pretty sick. It's disgusting, and the radio host that let that fly on their air. That's one of the ugliest, most racist things I've ever heard on the radio. It's a terrible thing she said. And that went out over the airwaves without being challenged in Chicago. If you're on hold, stand by. Before the Gold Report, I want to tell you about Dr. Appleton. Dr. Appleton, oh man, he sent me a text on Father's Day, Dr. Appleton, and I hadn't seen him in a while. And I tell Dr. Appleton, sorry I haven't seen you. And he says, Brian, that's okay. That means you're not in pain. I got rid of your pain. You know, he says my patients come in, and I don't see them again until they fall or something or get into an accident. And and that's true. You know, Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment, it works. He's rid me of pain 5 times, and he can do the same for you, okay? And it works on every type of pain I've ever heard of and a whole bunch of pains I've never heard of. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. The cool thing about the laser wave pain treatment is it's 100% painless. There's no shots, no injections, no downtime, no surgery. It works, and what it does, and the reason why when you're rid of pain from it, and like me, 5 times, pain hasn't come back, is because the laser treatment actually repairs the injury, the damage to your body that is causing the pain. It's amazing. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, and walk-ins are welcome. Appointments are not necessary, even on Saturdays. Give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. How are the metals looking today, William Youngerman?
Metal's looking good. Mixed on the opening, but we'll see how it develops. Gold seems to be coming back after trading in a range of $2,325 overnight, up all the way up to $2,335. Yesterday we gained $11.40 on gold, closing out the day at $2,329.70 the ounce. Silver gained 14 cents at $29.55. Platinum gained $3 at $9.74, and palladium was unchanged at $8.78. This morning, as I said, gold trading in a range of $23.25 to $23.35. Right now at $23.27, down $2.70. Silver up down 15 cents at $29.40 the ounce. Platinum up $8 at $9.82, and palladium gaining $20 at $898 the ounce. So metals very, very solidly firm at these levels, and they have been for quite a while. And we're still waiting to see what kind of breakout we're going to get this year. But I still believe we're going much higher on gold.
Absolutely. You know, and I wanted to mention a couple of things, William Youngerman, because, you know, obviously you sell the metals, you also buy them. And there's a couple types of metals I wanted to talk about. Can you tell people about silverware, silver platters, sterling silver, and how valuable that can be?
Oh, yes. We're seeing as a trend away from people having sterling flatware sets in their homes, the children not wanting them to polish them or anything. We're seeing a big trend of people just selling those, and they go for good prices now, silver. And so you can bring in those sterling flatware sets that you fail to even use most of the time, and get them out of your safety deposit boxes, as people used to put them there, and bring them in and get some cash for them. And same thing with platters, tea sets, things that you're not using that are just tarnishing, and turn it into gold or silver in a tradable form, which will give you an easy source of not only investment but liquidity in the future.
Yeah, I remember a year or so ago, my mom called me, and she's going through her old stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I'm throwing all this stuff away." She says, "What about this silver? This, all this silverware I have? I'm going to throw that away. Do you want?" I said, "Mom, that's money. Oh no, I'll take it. That's money." Another thing too, though, people that have old jewelry that's old, ugly, out of style, or broken, if it's made of the metals, that's worth money too, right?
Absolutely. With gold at record high numbers right now, people are amazed when they bring in just little pieces of jewelry, 14 karat gold or 18 karat gold scrap, or things that they're not wearing anymore, and we tell them how much they're going to get for it, and they go like, "Really?"
Yeah, exactly.
They weren't expecting it. A little light piece of jewelry comes out to quite a bit of money today.
Absolutely. And there, obviously you could take your cash and walk out with it. But one thing you told me about years ago, and I think this is really amazing, you can bring in that scrap jewelry, you can bring in that silverware, you can turn it into cash. You're certainly welcome to do that. But one thing you do, you can turn it into maybe like a gold coin or something, or some silver coin, so you can monitor the value of your metal.
Absolutely. And it can be the beginning of a great relationship with the precious metals that you maybe never anticipated, which could bring a lot of security to your finance.
Absolutely. So listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in. He's located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can give him a call toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, or find both his address and his phone number on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow. All right, back after this.
Take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now, the Steve...
All right, the phone's lit up. These are screenless. I would love one of these callers to be the racist head of the Chicago Teachers Union. Wouldn't you, Steve? Yeah, I would love to talk to that Chicago Teachers Union about this right-wing oath that she thinks we take. Yes, you're on, Steve. I got you. You're on. Caller, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, IB. Rob.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning. I'm breathing, brother. I'm breathing. Dissent. Misusing power. Going in, grabbing Elian Gonzalez, Waco, Ruby Ridge, busting into Mar-a-Lago. They're all out in the expos now, okay? So what are we going to do about...
Well, wait a minute. This is it. Hold on. Let's go through this. Hold on. Wait. We got breaking into and nabbing Elian Gonzalez, Waco, okay, breaking into Mar-a-Lago. The Democrats did all those terrible things. Democrats did all that. Yeah, that's right. I mean, these Democrats, they seem to be out of control. I guess we got to vote for... All right, IB, thanks for the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm Chris from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Hey, great show, guys. I mean, Brian, you were right to laugh at this, this educator, because it's as funny as it is sad. And like you just mentioned, Democrats, I mean, my goodness, if she studied at all in school, she'd know that Democrats are the ones that didn't want the black.
No, I shouldn't have laughed. Who said segregation now, segregation forever, Steve? One of your old, was it Lester Maddox that said segregation now? Well, I think it was Wallace. It was George Wallace. By the way, a Democrat. George Wallace said that. This woman, that's the head of the Chicago's Teachers Union, is talking like George Wallace. It's just the skin colors are reversed. And it's not funny. It's scary. And she has an education position in Chicago, and she's teaching this racist filth to people. It's not. I laughed when I first heard it, but I felt stupid laughing at it. It's really ugly.
It's really bad, and I tell you, I don't know how she got that far, but that's your liberal education at work. She sounds like she has a chip on her shoulder. She doesn't sound like she barely even got through undergrad. Now here she is, in this top position, and she's using it as a medium to further their racist agenda. They have to let this go, and as long as we have people like that in those title positions, it's not helpful.
See, what I've been talking about this a lot in the last couple years, and what's happened is it's not just that it's not enough just to say, okay, we're all equal. In the last 5 years or so, I think maybe 10, but we've reached economic equality with blacks in this country, and I noticed this when I went to Disney, when I would go to Disney World, which is very expensive to go to. When I was a kid, there were no black people there, and now it's loaded with black people, right? And the reason that is because in the past, as a group, blacks couldn't afford to go, and now we have economic equality. And what happens when people start making money, they're tired of paying for a bunch of freeloaders, right? And they become conservative when they become homeowners and such.
You're absolutely right. And to further that story, my wife and I used to say the same thing. Why are there so few blacks here? And then as years went by, we're like, okay, great. Good to see more black faces out here. And just to enjoy America. But just like you just said a little while ago, the equality, it's jealousy. I don't get it. They won't let it go. But it's our leaders who are still stirring that pot.
Yeah.
sad.
You know, I give an example, okay, in my neighborhood, okay? Long ago, okay, somebody will hear this and take this the wrong way, but I think you'll agree with me, Chris. Long ago, when black people started moving into a traditionally white neighborhood, it was seen as the neighborhood's going down economically because of lower economic groups moving in. A black family moved in the next street over from where I live. They got a Tesla in the driveway, you know, and they got the expensive SUV one that's like, you know, 80-some thousand base price, right? There's one of the reasons that blacks are going for Trump, which goes against the grain because you got women like this teachers union lady, you know, out there brainwashing, is because people are tired of this crap, and they're paying taxes, they're not on government benefits, and they understand how much more things are today than they were 4 years ago. That caller I had today, black liberal guy in the construction business, he said drywall costs twice as much today as it did 3.5 years ago.
That whole thing about being involved in America, and I used to say that when you're young, you do whatever you can do and fine. But once you get involved in America, you start raising families. You know how you have to say.
Once you have skin in the game.
There you go. I remember Steve saying that often. Once you have skin in the game, yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Chris, it's good to hear from you. Thanks so much. Oh man, I got to tell you, we've had great calls today. Some liberal callers too that walked the plank and did very well.
Heavy response from liberals.
I don't know how many liberals are left, Steve. I mean, I don't think there's many liberals in America today.
They are out there. They're just afraid to call.
Well, I'll be nice.
You know, our technique is very simple. What we do is ask the questions, and it's those questions that they
exactly.
From after a while, when they see they don't have the answers.
That's correct. Now, I want to tell people about Jupiter Joe Thomas, who's absolutely amazing. Jupiter Joe Thomas, you know, he has been in the retirement planning business for over 30 years. Whatever your retirement situation is, whether you are already retired or plan on retiring at any point in your life, he's seen that situation. And, you know, he's offering both free copies of his book and free phone consultations. And that's an amazing thing. And no matter where you're located in America, you could take advantage of both the free book and free phone consultation. Give Joe Thomas a call. Tell him what your retirement plans and goals are, or what your current situation is as a retiree and what you want, okay? And talk to him about annuities. Annuities are amazing. I've always heard about annuities and didn't understand them until Joe Thomas explained them to me. And with annuities, your money is not at risk like it is in the stock market and other investments. Your money that you put into an annuity is safe. You're not going to lose money. And you can generate income when you're retired. And the key to retirement is to have enough revenue coming in that you don't have to worry about anything. And, you know, I know a lot of people want to golf every day, and that's cool, but golf is expensive. Oh, my goodness, is it expensive. And your wife wants to go to the hair, that stuff adds up. So talk to him about annuities. Here's his number, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. jupiterjoe.com, and you can get the number there. No, you know, Steve, there's been a big awakening, and the reason that there's this extra bit of race baiting going on is because they're losing so much of the black vote. They're in a complete panic. I don't know if I have time for the other stuff I wanted to do, because I didn't even get to 10% of my show prep for today, but we will be back tomorrow. I did want to play one bit of something. Did you hear about the Uber driver that raped the girl? Oh, listen, this is a little bit here.
Probable cause documents, which say the father and the family were able to stop this sexual assault by attacking the Uber driver. 58-year-old Ahmed Ali, an Uber driver accused of a heinous crime.
Where they're asking that the court find probable cause for rape in the second degree and kidnapping in the first degree.
Probable cause documents I obtained say Ali picked up a woman from a bar who was too intoxicated to get home herself. The victim, relying on Ali's service as a rideshare driver, to get back safely. Instead, documents say Ali used his Uber app to make it seem like he dropped the victim off, then drove here to this secluded location outside of Olympia and raped the victim.
Okay. Yeah, this Uber driver. And the father of the girl tracked him down, caught the Uber driver, and beat the tar out of him. And I think he might have shot him. Women and girls should not be taking Uber or Lyft alone. Do not let your daughters or your wives take ride shares alone. I take ride shares every once in a while, and half the drivers are okay. The other half are, But you cannot trust Uber or Lyft drivers. Not that they're all bad, but you see stories like this all the time. So keep your daughters and your wives away, and your sisters, your women. Keep your women away from these Uber and Lyft drivers unless they have somebody else with them. Women need chaperones. Okay? Sorry, feminists. Women need chaperones. There's creeps out there. All right, we're out of time for today. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm Brian Craig. See you tomorrow morning with Steve Kane. All right, guys. Hey, make sure you like the video before you go, all right? Please like the video. That helps grow the channel a lot. If you're new, subscribe, all right?